All right. Welcome everybody for joining us today as we go over Karl Marx and his um how should I put it? Interesting early life, I guess. It's just anywho, well here I have joining me is AAVG,
Good morning, folks.
who is um going to be helping me go get through just the ridiculousness that is Marx, is the best way of putting it.
That filthy commie.
Yeah. Oh yes. Will get very interesting as we go over his life. So give me one
Will
moment.
get
Very do do do. So before we even start, I think it's best to go over who Karl Marx was, which where to begin. I think it's the best way of putting it. I think he was born at the early, what was it, the early, like near the end of the Regency era, as a part of the Prussian state before Germany actually became Germany. It was still a Prussian. It was classified as a Prussian state still. I can't remember what they were fighting. There was just two parts of that area that were fighting over each other at the during those times. And hold on, Karl Marx. And yeah, there we go. And he was born in 1818. So, anyways, what I have before me is actually a pretty good video that goes over his early life, which is something else, honestly. The person that goes over it, he goes by Tick History, as you can see right here, who has very choice words with Marx, honestly. So, you ready to go?
Let's get right into it.
There
Yeah.
have been thousands of books about Marxism, but almost all have been written by academics and zealots for whom it is near blasphemy to treat him, Karl Marx, as a figure of flesh and blood. But the reality is that one cannot separate Marxism the ideology from Marx the man. And today, we're going to find out who this man really was. Karl Marx came from a highly religious background. His grandfather on his mother's side had been the rabbi of the city of Nijmegen, although one account describes him as a merchant, money changer, and collector of lottery funds. And an ancestor on his father's side had been the rabbi of Trier in the 1700s. Other family members were rabbis too, including his grandfather on his father's side, who had been the rabbi of Saar Louis, which is where his father was born. So Karl Marx was ethically Jewish, even if his father, Herschel Marx, had converted to Lutheran Christianity prior to Karl Marx's birth, becoming Heinrich Marx, a patriot of the Prussian state. Despite converting to Christianity, Karl Marx's father wasn't super strict with his religion. He did believe in God, but seems to have only converted to Christianity because he wanted a government job, and the Prussian state had banned Jews from such a career. Regardless, Karl Marx himself was
Sell out. Sell out. Sorry, I had a tickle in my throat. Keep going.
Oh my gosh.
and though it's clear Karl had a reasonable amount of knowledge on the Jewish faith, he wasn't religiously Jewish. Karl Marx himself never practiced Judaism, and in fact, he was anti-Jewish, something we'll come back to discuss later. Heinrich could never have become a lawyer but for the effects of the French Revolution. He could never have acquired his legal qualification but for the educational initiatives of Napoleon. And he could not have remained a lawyer except by accommodating himself to the increasingly restrictive Prussian policy towards the Jews after 1815. These momentous events also did much to shape the young Karl's conception of the world, his relationship with his parents, and his generally negative attitude towards his family's Jewish past. This is incredibly important. Karl Marx hated his origins. He despised his Jewish ancestry, and as we'll see shortly, rebelled against his parents, which led to a rebellion against society in general. Self-shame and self-hatred were there right from the beginning, and his philosophy, his ideology, comes from these origins. It's there throughout his works. It deeply affected his family, and it warps the worldview of his followers to this day, whether they're conscious of it or not. But why would Marx be ashamed of his Jewish origins? Jews were treated as members of a separate nation exterior to the states concerned. They were thus restricted to certain quarters of cities, debarred from many occupations, and made subject to a discriminatory tax, justified as a form of protection money levied on the local Jewish community as a whole and divided out between them. Historically, Jews were ostracized from Christian society due to religious and ethnic reasons, meaning that they couldn't own land in Christian Europe. They were, therefore, forced to live in towns and cities, which in English, towns and cities were called boroughs, which is where we get the word bourgeoisie from, which is
Huh,
Uh,
didn't know that.
yes, and this is why this is why I keep on saying that ultimately the Communist Manifesto is intended to be an anti-Semitic work. He'll go into describing that if you compare during that time period what the anti-Semitic marketing was to the capitalist marketing, the comparisons between them were the same way since I think how far back was this? Um the the church, many of the states placed laws against the Jewish people, labeling them as a part of the king's property, especially in Prussia as well as in England. So they weren't allowed to maintain ownership of their lands. They weren't allowed to maintain. They weren't allowed to have specific kinds of jobs. So the only way that they could manage to get by was participating in what was called usury. What is usury for those that don't know?
Oh, I know what that is.
You know what that is? Yeah. Well, it used to be illegal in the past.
Mhm.
I don't know why they removed that law. Maybe they were salty of the jaybirds. But yeah, since they couldn't own any lands, they ended up ultimately migrating to whatever towns and cities that were around as a way of getting as a way of being more closely connected to access to resources. So their way of getting by was using technically a form of usury. And that gives you the explanation as to why they're seen as money grubbers all the time. But they also ended up being very literate as a form of survival as well, since the kind of jobs that they could have, it was within the city.
Well, they were kind of forced into it. It doesn't sound like they were like going out there and being like, "Hey, this is what we're good at. We're going to do this to a bunch of people." It sounds like
Oh
they were kind
no,
of
it
forced
was
into it.
absolute. Yeah, it was absolute survival. The only way that they could actually opt out of it is if they were to forsake a lot of their Jewish ties and
Which
switch
is what Marx
religions.
did. Marx
No,
went and pretended to
his
be a
father.
Christian.
His
Yeah.
father deliberately switched over to Lutheran so that he could actually get a more a better job. Um, but he tried to teach Marx. Yeah, because liberals are awesome or something. Oh my gosh. But I just want to explain things a bit more. Let's see. But yeah. Uh
the French word for townfolk. Unable to get a job in a predominantly Christian and agrarian society, they turned to usury, which is the lending of money and charging interest. Well, usury was banned
Exorbitant
by the
interest.
Christian Pope in the
but
Dark
yes, that was the
Ages.
problem.
Thus, due to old fashioned anti Semitism, the only people who could be the bourgeoisie, or the money changers, as Karl Marx called them, were the Jews. Many believed that the Jews were the bourgeoisie and that capitalism came from the Jews. That's why the propaganda of anti Semitism and anti capitalism look exactly the same, because they are the same. Anti
Huh.
Semitism and anti capitalism are just two sides of the same coin. That's also why, during Karl Marx's time, not now, but back then, the German word Judentum was commonly used as a synonym for commerce, which again shows the connection between capitalism and Jewishness. But in the aftermath of the French Revolution, which shook up the old order of Europe, many Jews converted from the faith or lost it entirely. Like,
Yeah, it seems that God does have it out for the Blue Jays. I believe that the intent was supposed to be to encourage them to switch over to Catholicism, since this was established during the what is it? Where is it? Let me find it.
While you find it, Jewish people believe that Jesus hasn't come yet. So
They're still
obviously
lost. Yeah,
there's a huge disconnect in between the Christian God and the Jewish one, because I think they recognize him as divine. They just say he hasn't even come yet, which would imply that he never came and saved us from our sins. So
yeah,
there's a
yeah.
core fundamental difference that I don't talk to Jewish people about, because the argument doesn't go anywhere, and it's fundamental to
Yeah.
their faith. Yeah. So
Yeah. So the medieval, so here, so the medieval foundations of their laws, it was around surrounding around feudalism, canon law, and then the chamber serfdom. This was enacted during the 11th between the 11th and 13th centuries specifically. Um, and then there were additional laws, the papal states. So basically, during the time when the Catholic Church started pushing for power a lot more and created themselves into a state rather than just a religion. In the 1600s, they have the papal states and the enduring bull. Nimis Absurdum, which was enacted in 1555 by its saying. So this was something that survived all throughout the 19th century and directly shaped the world of um, basically the Jewish people that were living in Italy specifically, since Italy was technically a bunch of city states at the time. It didn't unify. It only unified once because of Napoleon, and then it fractured again. But I think it didn't unify again until I think for World War II, possibly. But yeah, so
yeah.
it uh-huh.
Oh no, I was just on this thought because Emmett said something that I don't want to spread misinformation. So the Jesus that we understand, no, they don't believe that he's divine or that he's completed the acts that would like fulfill the messianic criteria.
Yeah.
But what I meant was more so the second coming would, like, if the Jesus of the future fulfills the messianic criteria, then he would be divine.
So basically, they didn't like how Jesus did it, so they're saying, "Nah, he wasn't it."
Well, you have to like bring world peace. You have to gather all Jews to Israel, and you have to rebuild the temple of I'm not sure what temple of
Whatever that temple is. Morning, Nick.
yeah.
Good morning.
Nick, this is my friend AVG.
ABG.
AVG. This is my friend roommate Nick.
Oh, you're actual like real life people.
You know, real life people. Oh my
I know
god.
it's scary, man, right?
Well,
Nice to meet you,
technically,
Nick.
she doesn't have a choice. She lives with me, so
Right, in this economy, right? Who can afford to live alone? You have to be making
oh
serious.
man, no kidding.
Some
No
serious
kidding.
cash always. So,
What does Nick do? Nick, are you
Hmm.
comfortable saying?
No, I'm perfectly fine. I'm a direct care provider. I'm in behavioral therapy.
Oh,
it's the
cool.
same
So
job
you
that
both
I'm in.
do
Yeah.
God's work every day. That's awesome.
That's what I
Yeah.
tell myself every day.
I make more money for clients through litigation. So
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
guys got me beat
Yeah.
there.
I
Yeah.
told you that she was a paralegal.
Yes. Yeah. You seem to You seem to be like a gravitational well for paralegals. I've noticed the number of paralegals you've known. Glacier, it's kind of funny.
Really? That's weird.
Yeah, she keeps making friends with her. They happen to be paralegals. It's weird. I don't
I'm
know why.
referring to, maybe you're confusing some things. I keep on referring to her specifically as being a paralegal.
Yes, I
Am-
know.
am-
I understand this. I'm saying every time, every so often, you keep making friends. It's like they're a paralegal. It's like, what's with all these paralegals?
Well, I'm in my jurisdiction. I'm more like a nurse practitioner, is akin to a doctor. Like I actually litigate just at like in lower courts.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of people appreciate just how much legality is involved with the medical profession on almost every single layer. And
Oh
so,
yeah. Malpractice is a area of law I've always been fascinated by.
if
Interesting.
if you want the hairs to stand up at the back of your neck, speaking of malpractice, as a I had a unique witnessing, I suppose is the best way to describe it, on
You
last
testified at
Sunday.
a hearing or trial, right?
I don't. I could be called up as that since I was one of the prime. I was about the most primary witness, and since I attempted to try to keep someone from dying, not my client, someone else's. I was leaving my client. There's a specialized church in the Tulsa area that caters specifically to the mentally disabled, and so they get a lot of business as they're the only people who do that in Tulsa. And so the caretakers for a lot of different companies and their clients end up converging on that location every Sunday. And once church concluded, I was leaving the site with my client. Uh, Generally, it's my business to always hold his hand. He's not fall prone and he's not resistant, but it's a parking lot with a lot of people leaving at the same time. I don't need to
Oh,
contemplate the reality of him wandering off and getting hit by a car. And
yeah.
so I look over to my right and I see an elderly man that's got to be pushing at least somewhere in 80. And he is shuffling, barely looking around. And my initial instinct, just looking at him, went, he is fall prone. Where's his walker? And then the moment my mind goes, where's his caretaker? And I start to look around to see if there's anyone even near him. And before I can even do that, he face plants, not trips,
Oh,
not falls down to his knees. The only thing that stopped his descent to the concrete was his face. Just
did,
boom, just
did you have any
fall.
pre-existings?
I wouldn't know. I don't know. I didn't know who
Oh,
he was, but needless to say, with his age and how hard that fall was, I had to immediately walk over to him holding my client's hand because again, he's my primary responsibility. I don't even know who this is. And so as I make it to him, there were several other caretakers nearby that again, I could tell they didn't know who he was. They're all kneeling down. I check his pulse. He's alive, but then I have them start to assist me in turning him. And while we're doing that, my head starts going off in a swivel, looking at everybody going, is he yours? Is he yours? Is this your client? No one. And then I look around and then I see this woman, mid 25, very heavy set, holding her phone at the doorway to the church, which is a good 20 feet away, looking, I would say, mildly shocked or irritated. And the moment I see her, I know immediately that's his caretaker.
oh,
And she's
geez.
nowhere even near him.
Well,
And we turn him
that's
over,
fucked.
and he's got a huge bleeding gash. I mean, like blood torrenting out of his head, right in his forehead. I imagine that's where the impact point was. And thank God I wasn't wearing a shirt I really cared about. And so I had to immediately take my shirt, apply pressure, and keep him from bleeding out. And then immediately we all start trying to convene of, okay, you go get an emergency kit from the church because they keep
Or
one in
church, yeah.
hand, and then you call 911. And as we're convening all of this, and me having to explain, get someone else from church because we're all caretakers, we have our own clients, we cannot go stay here indefinitely. Um, and what this takes like 60 seconds to just corral all of this. And it was only then, after 60 seconds, that the person that I assumed was his caretaker just meandered over, still holding onto her phone and just passively watching everyone else try to save this man's life. Never actually seemed urgent, panicked, concerned. There was like no agency in this guy's care whatsoever. I don't know if she was with my company or, long story short, there is a director there at the church, and when it was all over, I did get more information from her to find out what happened, and the older gentleman didn't even make it to the hospital.
Oh my god.
He passed away from that
Oh,
impact.
wow.
Yes.
I didn't hear about that part.
I had
Yeah,
to check with her back. I had to check back with her next week. Yep, he never even made it to the hospital before he passed away.
following
Jeez.
information, it should not be considered to be legal advice, but yeah,
Mhm.
my gut instinct is that
Oh,
it's
yeah. We are
malpractice,
legally liable. Yes, that is
and
criminal negligence as far as I'm concerned.
it doesn't matter
Yeah.
whether or not he had pre-existing injuries or
Mhm.
even his just fragile thin skull or crumbling skull rule doctrine would apply, and he's still
Oh,
be
yeah.
liable for all the damages to,
Severe concussion. Yeah.
yeah, the criminal charges and
Oh,
any
yeah.
kind of restitution.
Sure, and I'm certain, she it would have immediately gotten let go, and then, yeah, most likely, if the family didn't sue her, there's a number of agencies in Oklahoma that will likely be
Yeah, jumping
investigating.
down on that,
Yeah.
yeah,
It depends
immediately.
on, so her
Mhm.
regulatory body might, like, she might have heirs and omissions insurance, but, like, they
Mhm.
might decline to provide coverage if it can be established that she acted unreasonably. The other thing is, like,
Mhm.
if she's not a contractor, i.e., if she's a direct employee of the company, they'd have to do an assessment again if she went
Mhm.
outside of the course of her, like, her allotted recommended course of action in such a circumstance.
Yeah.
And if it's found that she acted outside of the mandated course of action that her employer dictates, then she could have personal liability for
Oh,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yikes.
We're often advised, on that, especially newer people all the time. This is not a McDonald's. We are legally liable for caring for these people. And if there's
Yeah.
criminal negligence, then, yeah, you could be held liable.
Yeah.
Yeah, if your heirs and omissions insurance doesn't respond to it, if you were
Mhm.
negligent. Yeah.
Well, so
I got that stuff
Anywho,
too.
mm.
Fun.
yeah. Anywho,
Sorry for the
Anywho,
derailment.
it's okay.
back to
I've had
Mark.
Karl
worse
Marx.
I've had worse derailments, but yeah. Where were we? It's just I think he was talking about Marx's living conditions, and here we go.
Like with Karl Marx's father, and their sons and daughters became ashamed of their Jewish and capitalist heritage. Well, Karl Marx was one of them, which is why his ideology is both anti Semitic and anti capitalist, because they're two sides of the same coin. Anyway, Heinrich Marx read Voltaire, Jean Jacques Rousseau, and Immanuel Kant. We haven't got time to go into a deep dive on these guys today, but it's clear that Heinrich's interest in philosophy had a major impact on Karl Marx, who became a philosopher himself. And Immanuel Kant's philosophy was especially important since it tried to save faith from science, which is why I have Leonard Peikoff's book on the shelf behind me, since he dives deep on this particular philosophy. Kant's ideology is altruist to the bone and directly led to Hegel, whom Karl Marx read during his education, so the influence was there right from the beginning. Karl Marx's mother, Henrietta, was Dutch, and her German grammar and spelling remained poor throughout her life, which may partly explain why she had a problem dealing with Karl Marx. Henrietta was a family orientated person who gave Karl excessive motherly love, writing letters to her son telling him to make money instead of, well, nothing. Another reason he didn't like her.
It seems that the fate of the people of Israel are once again being fulfilled in my case, and that my children are to be scattered throughout all the world.
When Marx went to university, she encouraged him to not smoke too much, not to stay up late, to rise early, and to have a weekly scrub with sponge and soap, which suggests that he wasn't even managing to wash that often. And we will see more.
This will be a running theme. I swear this will be a legitimate running through theme all throughout his freaking life when we go over the video.
evidence which confirms
The
this.
Clayton Bigsby fallacy?
Marx's
Huh?
The Clayton Bigsby fallacy?
What is that, real quick?
Well, if anybody is familiar with the popular show from the 2000s, the Dave Chappelle show, there was a character on that called Clayton Bigsby. Clayton Bigsby is a blind black man who holds staunch racist ideals and attempts to join a branch of his local triple letter, you know what I'm talking about. And eventually he takes off the hood at a meeting, and people realize that he is in fact a black man. And he figures out that all this time his wife, who's also blind and white, has been in love with a black man. And he says something to the effect of why he left his wife after finding out that he was black, and it's because she was a lover. And that's Clayton Bigsby, the black white supremacist.
Oh my god.
You never seen it? We can watch. We can
No.
watch it.
Probably have to watch it some other time, but yeah.
Oh,
That's
fine.
no more derailments. That's after
Fine.
last
Sorry,
stream.
I had all my derailments happen in the last stream.
Yes. I don't even
Morning,
remember.
Shadow.
Shadow, are you being
Yeah.
arrested?
Wow.
Why is there a cop car light behind you?
That's so racist. Look, I came in to support the
There's-
stream, and Nick and
All
Glacier are
right.
shooting shots at me.
Wee, wee,
What are you talking about?
Look,
Like
I
a
just
cop
got
car.
here. I've been catching strays for the last 30 seconds. I came on because all of a sudden, I know exactly what ABG was talking about, and that skit was funny.
That was pretty good.
Well, we might
But-
watch it later.
Do you know something interesting about that, though? It's because people don't realize, like, he was, like me, he was raised by a white family, a racist
Who?
white family.
Oh,
in that
oh.
episode, Dave Chappelle. It shows you that race is literally just by definition. Your ethnicity is not a social construct, but the quote unquote race is. So it kind of goes towards your Marx statement. Like I kind of understand where he came from. I just don't agree with him because he's a lunatic.
Well, Marx was a lunatic.
Yes, absolutely.
A pretentious one, but still a lunatic. Let's get back to the show.
early life.
I'm gonna get on with loud noise. So
He was born on the 5th of May, 1818, in the German town of Trier, which only had a population of 11,000 at the time. Only Karl and 3 sisters survived and lived out most of their lives, with 5 others dying before the age of 24, mostly from consumption. Karl Marx himself also suffered throughout his life from a weak chest, something that will end up being important later on. He may have played on his weak chest at times, but he also used it as an excuse to not work.
Although we cannot work for long and seldom happily with a physical constitution which is not suited to our profession, the thought nevertheless continually arises of sacrificing our well-being to duty, of acting vigorously although we are weak.
Karl Marx was privately educated until he entered high school, where the teachers were mostly liberals. His school was raided in 1832 by the police, who found revolutionary literature and charged 2 teachers for atheism and materialism. Now, we're going to focus on Karl Marx's personal life today, so I don't really want to go too in depth on his ideology, except where it impacts his personal life. And materialism does impact his personal life in a profound way. So a little later on, I will explain materialism for you. But for now, just remember that Karl Marx's school teachers had given him a philosophy consisting of atheism and materialism. Oh, and also altruism.
Basing himself upon the pure doctrine of God and the immortality of the soul, which he associated with Kant, Karl Marx's headmaster constantly reiterated the idea that the human being must always, first and foremost, work for others. By this means, the path to immortality would be opened up. For man's nature is so constituted that he can attain his own perfection only by working for the perfection, for the good of his fellow men.
Marx then went to university at Bonn in 1835 when he was 17. He started off studying law, as his father had wished, but ended up drinking heavily and smoking constantly, despite the fact he had a bad chest. His mother and father tried to encourage him to eat healthily, stop smoking and drinking, get outside and go for walks, as well as go to bed early so as to rise in the morning. But it was no use. There is evidence that his father especially berated him for his poor behavior, and he was placed in detention for disturbing the peace after getting drunk and also carrying prohibited weapons in Cologne. He ended up in prison for 24 hours after one particular binge and also got into a pistol duel with a trained soldier that, unfortunately for the rest of humanity, only ended up wounding the flesh above his left eye.
Heinrich was also worried.
Moral of the story, being a filthy commie erodes your soul, and so you turn to the drink.
Yeah.
That is
That's
actually
all.
pretty accurate.
He's
That
gonna
is
leave that there.
actually pretty accurate. I was just like, he gets himself into a fucking duel and manages to survive, gets hit in the fucking head, and then survives that shit.
Did he though? Did he really like he was still like physically there, but like, you know?
I mean, I don't know. He, as far as I'm concerned, he was unchanged by the events.
Once a filthy commie, always a filthy
Always a filthy commie.
That's
Yeah.
always a filthy commie, indeed.
All
Just
right.
explain the soldier.
Attitude towards money. In January 1936, he complained that his son's accounts were disconnected and inconclusive. One expects order, even from a scholar, and especially from a practical lawyer. Heinrich was convinced that it was possible to manage with less. As if we were men of wealth, my heir son disposed in 1 year of almost 700 thalers, contrary to all agreement, contrary to all usage, whereas the richest spend less than 500.
Damn.
Later, I have paid your money order for 160 thalers. In future, I do not want to expect many of the same kind.
I want to emphasize this because, as we'll see, this particular issue plagued his entire life. Karl Marx was always terrible with money. Marx overspent constantly and never once got his own finances in order. So the fact that his father was telling him this at age 18 is very revealing, as it shows that the man who wrote so much about money, saying it was evil and Jewish, was also someone who didn't understand it and never had any. Well, Heinrich assumed that it was the unserious student culture at Bonn that was to blame for his son's poor behavior and inability to manage his allowance. So Karl Marx's father forced him to transfer to the far more serious University of Berlin, a city whose population was now at 397,000.
2/3 of the estimated 10,000 new workers who poured into the city each year were effectively homeless and forced nightly to hire a sleeping space, Schlafstelle. Most of the city's burgeoning workforce of tailors and shoemakers remained beneath the tax threshold, and according to the socialist journalist Ernst Drunker, which is a very appropriate name for a socialist journalist, 1 in 17 of the city's female population, many of them country migrants and would-be domestic servants, turned to being pros.
Good old YouTube censorship there. And I'm afraid we do have to take the words of a socialist with a grain of salt. So we do have to ask ourselves, why were people flooding into Berlin if conditions were this bad? Why not just stay in the countryside or go to a different town or village? Why was the population growing if conditions were so poor? None of these people can ever explain this. And the reason why is because their ideology and ignorance of history blind them to what was actually happening. There's an article I'll link to in the description which will explain this in full, but here's part of the article here coming from a book called Human Action.
The truth is that economic conditions were highly unsatisfactory on the eve of the Industrial Revolution. The traditional social system was not elastic enough to provide for the needs of a rapidly increasing population. Neither farming nor the guilds had any use for the additional hands. They were virtually outcasts. The apathetic majority of these wretched people lived from the crumbs that fell from the tables of the established castes. In the harvest season, they earned a trifle by occasional help on farms, while the thousands, the boldest and most ruthless of their class, infested the country as vagabonds, beggars, tramps, robbers, and pros. The authorities did not know of any means to cope with these individuals other than the poorhouse and the workhouse. The support the government gave to the popular resentment against the introduction of new inventions and labour-saving devices made things quite hopeless. The factory system developed in a continuous struggle against innumerable obstacles. It had to fight popular prejudice, old established customs, legally binding rules and regulations, the animosity of the authorities, the vested interests of privileged groups, the envy of the guilds. The factories freed the authorities and the ruling landed aristocracy from an embarrassing problem that had grown too large for them. They provided sustenance for the masses of paupers. They emptied the poorhouses, the workhouses, and the prisons. They converted starving beggars into self-supporting breadwinners. The factory owners did not have the power to compel anybody to take a factory job. They could only hire people who were ready to work for the wages offered to them. Low as these wage rates were, they were nonetheless much more than these paupers could earn in any other field open to them.
I did want to talk about this a little bit since it's one of those things that a lot of people don't really know. Because this is technically when Marx is like this is like Marx is in his 20s. That's like the 1830s, late like mid 1830s. And yeah, one of the biggest things that happened during the early 1800s, 17 to 1800s, when factories were being the industrial revolution was slowly um riling up. um there were a lot of innovations that helped farming so that it was a lot easier to get through. So a lot of people were all like the amount of hands that were necessary to make food for an entire country. It ended up being reduced significantly because of the farming innovations, which is probably which is part of what he's citing as to why the city populations were growing so rapidly. But yeah, just something to consider.
It is a distortion of facts to say that the factories carried off the housewives from the nurseries and the kitchens and the children from their play. These women had nothing to cook with and to feed their children. These children were destitute and starving. Their only refuge was the factory. It saved them, in the strict sense of the term, from death by starvation. It is deplorable that such conditions existed. But if one wants to blame those responsible, one must not blame the factory owners who, driven by selfishness, of course, and not by altruism, did all they could to eradicate the evils. What had caused these evils was the economic order of the pre-capitalistic era, the order of the good old days.
Anyway, it was in Berlin where he fell in love with his future wife, Jenny von Westphalen.
I just want to point out, she's a decent looking chick considering how ugly Marx was. And second, this host guy, I'm not really sure what his name is because he has like this, like tick history. I think you guys know the popular bluegrass / dance tune Cotton Eye Joe.
Oh my God.
Yes.
I think this is what they had in mind when they were talking about Cotton Eye Joe. His one eye is like significantly smaller, and when he squints, it makes it even more comical.
Oh my gosh.
May God bless this man because his features certainly.
I hope he makes a lot of money.
Yes. Oh, I do want to highlight this fact. Is just like he will explain. This girl, this woman, is a baroness. She is nobility. Marx got with nobility, the bourgeois, and he himself is also bourgeois.
Yeah, Jenny von Westphalis.
Apparently, from what he says, it's pronounced as Yenny. So, yeah,
Jenny
Yenny
von
one
Phallus.
Fallon, Fallon,
Phallus?
what? Oh my! You know what? God, AVG, your humor is something else.
I'm 12.
Yes, you turned into a 12-year-old. It's so
Uh,
random when you do that shit.
all right, back into the intellectualism of Das Kapital.
Yes.
All
Oh
right.
my god.
But German speakers online don't seem to agree on how this name is pronounced, so I'm just going to stick with Jenny. But as her name suggests, Jenny was from the aristocracy and her father was a baron. They met as children but found each other again as adults, and she left her fiance, who was a respectable second lieutenant in the army, and became engaged to Karl Marx in 1836.
I know. Why did she marry down?
Well, you know what they say.
Actually, yeah, he does have a funny explanation for this, which I want to. Let's just
Oh,
hear
yeah.
it.
Their parents for a year, since this was a step down in every respect for the young woman. And while one historian says she fell for his intellect, I've got to ask the question, but is this really the case? Are nerds drowning in women? No. And as someone who was simultaneously dating 4 women at last Christmas, I've only got one now because one's bad enough, I can honestly tell you that women are not attracted to intelligence. They're actually put off by it. But what they are attracted to is loud and obnoxious rebels who fight in pubs and get scars above their left eyes after being in duels. They like thugs who will protect them in a fight. And the reason why is because that's manly behavior for them. Back in caveman days, it was the biggest stick that brought home the meat. Nowadays, it's often the most intellectual person who has the big wallet, and that certainly helps if you play it right, but big wallets only get you so far. As the lyrics to one of the pop songs say, the bad boys are always catching my eye, ooh-ay, ooh-ah.
Which, yeah. As for like the bad boy archetype, oh, hello, Emmett.
Hello.
Just like,
Yeah,
mhm. Go ahead.
I just came. I just came here real quick, but I will stay for a little while. But one of the things I wanted to say was, one, he is coping so hard because he thinks of himself like an intellectual, and
Saying
two,
the same thing.
when the second part is when your last name is West Follows, you have to understand that you're not gonna get the prince.
Oh no,
So
no.
yeah.
But yeah, no. The on the mark of how prolific has the bad boy archetype been? Very, as in it's written into even Jane Austen's stories, which is before Marx's time. Technically, she would be very popular around the time where they talk about where there was this adage talking about a rake would make a great husband. And what's a rake by that? For the record, it's basically the guy that goes after one woman after another, sleeps with them, lies about trying to get with them, lies about marriage, just to do anything so that they can sleep with them. He was the
Fuck
typical
boy.
standard. Yes, he was the fuck boy, bad boy archetype, which people would try to say is just like, oh yeah, bad boys are amazing. It's just like, no, bad boys are just shit people.
Well, guten Morgen, Emmett Steen, and willkommen. Willkommen.
Yes, yes. But yeah,
Dankeschön, Miss
Yeah.
Dadia.
Technically, Marx hits the archetype of being a bad boy because of his little scar that would have been fresh when she saw him again. But yeah, it's just like bad boy. Yeah, it's just like bad boys become bad
boy.
men. If you think about
What
it,
you
yeah.
gonna do? What you gonna
You gonna do when they come for
Fuck
you?
you.
You're too bad. You're too good.
Yeah.
Oh man, Confluence is being a bad boy.
Oh.
Anyway,
No comment. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
he's stuck in a shower. Who knows how he got there?
yeah, Glacier,
Oh
you can
dear.
fix him. That's what I'm
No.
gonna say about that.
No, thank you.
Jenny fell for Karl Marx because, even as an infant, she described him as having dark eyes, a domineering personality, and being a terrible tyrant to her and others. He was a volatile nonconformist who was unstable and never prosperous. In other words, a bad boy. And that's what was attracted to her. Now, Karl Marx studied philosophy at university, which
Just,
is where he came across the works of.
Yes.
I want to say something real quickly. Okay, real quickly.
Go ahead.
Never ever refer to another man as a bad boy. Never. just don't. Okay.
Oh my gosh, just cringing all over.
It's the cringiest thing I ever seen a man say about anybody, especially Karl Marx. There's like so many things to call him, including a fucking commie, and
I
he's like a
mean,
bad boy. Like, oh no.
technically, commies would be the bad boys. They try to seem rebellious by saying, "Oh yes, I take the middle finger to the government." Yeah.
You just call me that. I was making a joke. I was making a joke. Towards Glazier. I wasn't calling you that. To be fair.
Oh my god.
I'm gonna go ahead on. You know what? Eugenics.
Bad
Let's do
word.
eugenics with Confluence.
Ooh,
Confluence. You
eugenics.
cannot. Yeah, you
Eugenics?
cannot. Eugenics. Yeah, you cannot. You are barred from procreating at this point. Eugenics.
Damn. Yes, this very important part going over Hegel because he was very influential towards Marx's philosophy, so to speak. Fuck.
Hegel. Marx devoured Hegel's works and paid tribute to Hegel for bringing him into adulthood. He joined the Young Hegelians, a discussion group that debated Hegel's ideas, and again we'll come back to discuss Hegel shortly when it's more appropriate. But Marx styled himself as a man of destiny, one of Hegel's heroes, which may go some way to explaining why he was so miserable all the time.
Is your heart in accord with your head, your talents? Has it room for the earthly but gentler sentiments, which in this vale of sorrow are so essentially consoling for a man of feeling? And since that heart is obviously animated and governed by a demon not granted to all men, is that demon heavenly or Faustian? Will you ever, and that is not the least painful doubt to my heart, will you ever be capable of truly human, domestic happiness? Will, and this doubt has no less tortured me recently since I have come to love a certain person like my own child, will you ever be capable of imparting happiness to those immediately around you?
Heinrich Marx was disappointed that his son, Karl Marx, had wasted his time on Hegel's philosophy, thinking that it was an ideology devoid of ideas. He thought that Karl should have concentrated on getting his law degree and then getting a job in order to earn an income for himself and his wife-to-be. But Karl Marx was neglecting his law studies and was focusing on philosophy, especially Hegel's philosophy, which Heinrich didn't approve of. So Heinrich therefore hurled grievances at his son until Heinrich died on the 10th of May, 1838, from tuberculosis.
Karl did not attend the funeral. The journey from Berlin would be too long, he explained, and he had more important things to do.
Things like
So, ditch the funeral to more important things than funeral of his father. Got it.
Yeah, well, he's not a man of principle. He's a filthy, commie loving, bitch loving fuck boy who would sacrifice his religious beliefs at the whim based on economic gain. So yeah, he's a shitty guy.
Ironically,
I cried when Arthur Morgan died of tuberculosis.
Arthur Morgan. Oh my.
Yeah.
Arthur Morgan can go a variety of different directions when it comes to his
Who dat
evolution,
man?
so to say.
That dude was a good man, even if he went down whichever path you wanted to.
Mm.
It was a heartbreaking
fictional
story.
Character from the game Red Dead Redemption 2.
Yeah, specifically too.
Orphan
And when are you gonna fix Confluence? That's why I came up here after Emmett to address
well, he's
that.
already out of the shower
I said no
apparently.
comment.
So.
I said no comment. Let's get back to the video.
getting into ever-increasing amounts.
Got to go, Joffluence. Mm.
His father's death meant that he wasn't receiving the regular amounts of money he had been, and he had to beg from his mother, who was herself a widower. In the
See how he ran away?
Bro.
and unlikely to earn a wage. Yet instead of doing something like getting a job, Karl Marx spent his days reading, writing, and smoking. His doctoral thesis was on the difference between Democritean and Epicurean philosophy. And because he had fallen out with his tutor, he instead sent his dissertation to the University of Vienna, which had a reputation of awarding degrees without debate or delay. 9 days later, he was awarded a PhD on these two ancient Greek philosophers. I think it's now time to do a brief overview of the philosophies in question.
So for the record, he technically got himself a PhD in philosophy from one of the lowest brow philosophy colleges, because all you had to do, you didn't even have to exert much effort just to get the damn degree to begin with. I just found that to be fucking fascinating. It's just like,
Imagine
Just
being
like
a
Confluence.
yeah. Imagine being a lefty and pretending that you're so smart and you follow this fucking guy.
well, see, I'm pretty sure that most lefties would recognize him as like as an economist rather than a philosopher. But we hear that his father literally tells him, it's just like, why are you squandering all of the funds that I'm giving you? You are wasting it more than a fucking nobleman.
Isn't that what all the rich kids do anyway? Just waste their parents' money until
Yes.
they.
Yes, this is why he's bourgeois. This is exactly why he is bourgeois. It's just like, where are you finding this money? Why is it all gone?
Oh God, Bluffington, all them. Not the Amish. What do they call them? Amish adjacents live here.
What?
The
I mean-
Mennonites.
Mennonites. Oh God, they LARP as Amish.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yeah, tell me you grew up on a farm without telling me you grew up on a farm if you know what Mennonites are. That was my life. I grew up
Yes.
on a farm picking rocks in a field in the middle of August. It
I'm
was
gonna
in Canada.
dress like an Amish, but I'm gonna use a cell
I don't
phone
know
and
why
drive a car.
Yeah,
Oh my
Oh my
gosh.
gosh. Anywho, let's move on.
Because it explains Karl Marx's passivity when it comes to finding a career. Democritus was an ancient Greek philosopher who theorized that the world was made up of tiny particles that
Wait.
were uncuttable.
Wait, just a second. Did I hear Shayla? Where did Shayla go? I didn't even see her come on
Who?
panel.
Who's
Shayla
Shayla?
for Nuxon for
For what's
oh,
your
man.
last name again? Sheila
for
what?
Ferguson
Farouk.
Ferguson?
Ferguson
Ferguson.
What?
Ferguson
What?
Ferguson
I think it's like F
Ferguson?
F
Ferguson.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Farouk.
Okay.
Thank you.
Ferguson.
Who is this Shayla person?
I
Emmett has
heard
a
him in
clip.
panel a moment ago. I thought, man, now I'm so confused.
I think you're tripping out.
Yeah,
tripping
I think you're
out.
I think you're tripping out as well.
When are you gonna kick Karen?
He's not even here. Oh my gosh.
Right now we're all inhaling the drug that is Karl Marx's life and history, and it has some
And
weird
yeah,
side
that's-
effects.
Marguson?
It's already having side effects on everybody.
Carlson Marxuksen.
Carlson Marguson.
This is ridiculous.
Let's keep going, I guess. She's a notorious troll. Ugh, it's typical.
She stalks channels. Interesting.
That names people and stuff.
The Greek word for uncuttable is atomus. And from this, we get the philosophical school called the atomists. They said that everything was made up of these tiny, uncuttable particles called atoms, and that they were moving around in the void, bumping into each other, forming groups of particles, etc. In essence, it's as if the atoms were cogs in a machine, and thus everything was mechanical. They developed the laws of mechanics, and the universe was now seen as a giant machine.
which means, first of all, that nothing ever happens by chance. Everything is determined by the atomic configurations and the various pressures and reactions by mechanical law. It also means, they said, that nothing ever happens for a purpose or an end or a goal, because atoms, or billiard balls, if you want to think of that analogy, do not move around in order to get into the side pocket. They move around simply as a result of the forces operating upon them. In other words, the laws of mechanics have no purposes, no goals.
In this mechanical or materialist worldview, humans were seen as machines too. And just like a car needs a human to drive it, so too do you need something to drive you. So, what is powering you? What's making you move? Well, they said, it's the spirit, God. In fact, Marx's dissertation on Democritus and Epicurus is full of mysticism and full of this idea that spirits come from the atoms. So the idea is that the atoms have a spirit in them, which is why they're moving about. If they didn't have a spirit, what could possibly make them move, right? So this was why Marx ended his dissertation saying,
The vehicle of vitality, the efflorescence in the gardens of the spirit, the foaming of the bubbling goblet of the tiny seeds, out of which the flower of the single flame of the spirit bursts forth.
in essence, he's saying that the atoms contain spirits, and that's where our spirit, our consciousness, comes from. So Marx's materialism is his mysticism. Those claiming that he was an atheist because he was a materialist have failed to recognize that materialism is, by itself, mysticism. And this is where so many people go wrong. They think materialism is non-religious because it believes in a mechanical reality. But if you follow this idea to its logical philosophical conclusion, the end result is that a god must have existed in order to create the spirits in the machine, the ghost in the shell, in the first place.
So, yeah, I feel like this almost feels like predeterministic philosophy. Looking over that aspect of it. Thinking about it.
Well, the guy's a degenerate. He's like boozed up and smoking and stuff all the time.
Well,
He's probably
this is his he did start hard on the drugs and smoke and shit
we
like
saw on the
that.
booger
But
sugar
yeah,
yet, and the H dog.
I don't know if I don't know what
H-dog.
drugs. I don't know what drugs he was on, but
Purple
I know that he
dragon.
was he was heavy on the smoke. Heavy on the smoke, man.
Didn't he smoke? I thought he smoked some kind of hard drug too. It wasn't like math. It was
What would be popular during this time period would be opioid.
yeah, opium.
Would be opium,
Opium.
because this is what was happening during the time.
Opium.
What was happening during the time that he was alive was the Opium Wars. This is around the time period of it, and we can actually go over that because this disproves some of his fucking theories about trade, because he has a lot of really shit theories about trade that are fucking ridiculous.
We called him
Yeah.
another name, but ridiculous is fine for now.
Yes.
And if God creates the machine, he does so from his non-physical consciousness, which means that the machine world is fake. It's merely a figment of God's imagination. Idealism. Materialism and idealism are two sides of the same coin. They start in different places, but they both come to the same conclusion, that reality is fake and it was created by the mind of God. This is why Epicurus, the other philosopher Karl Marx wrote about, was so strange, because he believed everything in the world is just mechanical and the laws of mechanics are determining how everything is moving.
Well, that sounds familiar.
Yeah.
It's like it's a construct. It's a social construct.
Oh yeah.
reality is a social construct.
Oh yeah, reality is a social construct. It's not real. Reality is a relative.
Of the tiniest atoms, we get the particles, which move and clump together to make bigger molecules, which will then move together again and form the cells of our body, which come together to make limbs and then eventually our entire being. And we ourselves are just part of this giant universal machine. We're not acting from our own free will, just like the atoms have no free will. We're merely acting as the machine has already determined we should act. So, because this is a mechanical, materialistic world, man has no choice in his actions. It's all
Oh,
predetermined
that's the
beforehand.
biggest cope ever. Sorry.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, you realize that it is cope because he uses he uses both philosophers as a reason why he doesn't grab a job.
Yes, it sounds like a complete and utter cope.
I know. It sounds very familiar. Like the left.
Yes. Of course they gravitated to this loser's books. Like now it all makes sense. Okay.
I just want to point out that the people that usually typically do gravitate towards his books is usually the affluent specifically.
Yeah.
And even
Like
he was affluent too. Yes.
like how Kurt won't get a job when he on Confluence's panel.
Mm. Mm.
I haven't met Kirk, but oh
No,
dear.
wait till you meet Kurt and how he talks to his little sister about certain things.
Oh dear.
Until you find that out and be how disgusted. Ask Emmett.
Since we can't affect the future.
Were you trying to say something, Emmett? Because you were muted.
I just said, yeah, we hate him. No bueno. Okay.
Of course.
Epicurus therefore concluded that we should withdraw from the world. Atoms have no emotion, and neither should we, he said. He said we should just give up and retire from life in order to not be hurt by it. And thus, he sought pleasure by avoiding the pain of trying. If you want an aphorism that captures the essence of Epicurus's philosophy on this point, it's nothing ventured, nothing lost, or better safe than sorry. Wall yourself off from reality, and then it can't hurt you. Epicurus therefore built himself a sheltered garden in which he retired. He then ate a simple diet, spoke with a few chosen friends, and let the world outside the garden go to ruin. In essence, he built a Garden of Eden. He thought that the greatest happiness is the absence of strong emotions and not taking action, meaning that happiness was a negative emotion for Epicurus. It is the state of not being hurt, which sounds like safety, but is actually misery. Hence, the greatest happiness is absence of strong emotions, and therefore cessation of action. And now it makes sense why Karl Marx did the exact same thing. Marx avoided work, avoided life, he was inimical to it, because he was mimicking Epicurus. There's also a clear rejection of his father and parental issues, but all this combined into the philosophy he had, which turned him into the lazy and miserable communist that he was. Now, in his dissertation, Marx says that the immediate realization of philosophy is, in its deepest essence, afflicted with contradictions. He hadn't yet discovered Hegel, but it's obvious why he soon fell for him, since Hegel was the master of contradictions. I have an entire video on Hegel and his idiobabble, but in short, Hegel was an idealist. Idealism is the idea that everything is created by the mind of God, the ideal. But Hegel was what's known as a dialectical idealist. The dialectic is best understood as a transcendence. It's based on the Christian Trinity of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, but it's all about combining opposites. So we have 3 points on a triangle. The first point, the opposing second point, and the higher third point. Hegel didn't use this terminology, but it's commonly referred to as the triad of thesis, antithesis, and synthesis. When you bash the first two together, you get something else. So let's give an example. Man and woman equals child. Or another, yellow and blue equals green. Hegel said that this change, or Aufheben, results in a synthesis of the opposites. The two opposites become reconciled. And thus contradictions, he said, are good. What are we doing when we do that?
What the fuck?
We are reconciling.
Need a moment to take it in.
What's going
What
on?
the fuck did I just
Hey,
hear?
re-examination.
Hello.
Morning.
Morning. So yeah, I remember learning about the Hegelian dialectic and how weird it was, because it's kind of like what they do is they embrace two extremes and try to synthesize them, you know, which is basically what crazy people do.
Yeah.
Whereas in Christianity, it's you try and balance things so as to not be extreme one way or the other. Also, when he says God is an idealist, it's interesting because I had a debate-ish with C.S. Lewis, and he said every Christian is idealist because they believe things come from the mind of God. Well, then what separates idealism from Christianity in Marx's view, at least? Because if he's doing it differently, I mean, if the basis of truth is the mind of God, I mean, I wouldn't agree with the term idealist because I think it's anthropomorphizing God when you say that. But what would he say that the Christian doctrine is as far as the relationship between God and his creation?
Well, here's the thing. Marx is rebuking. This is Hegel's the dialectic specifically. Marx, on the other hand, rebukes the religiosity, as in the Christianity of Hegel's dialectic, but still wants to use his dialectic at the same time and say that it's not his dialectic to invert and create a new contradiction and saying that he has a new ideal. There is a God in this ideal, but it's not the Christian God.
Wow, he's kind of using the underlying principle of Hegel's dialectic against itself in order to, you know, take it hostage, but by its own rules. That's weird.
Yes, that is deliberately what he's trying to do when he makes the Communist Manifesto.
Yikes.
Yeah,
My God,
this is
all of
this
this
is what people
babbling.
want.
What is this babbling? You can we?
He's a confident idiot.
Hold
In
on,
short.
Emmett. This is only scratching the surface. I want to go through some of the terminologies that he uses specifically at Das Kapital. You will suffer with me.
But real quick, how do you distinguish idealist versus the Christian doctrine? Because I don't, again, I reject that term for a Christian doctrine. But what does he think it is if he disagrees with Christians and says it's not X, it's idealist? What is X in that point?
The idealist, so like he broke down in the video, the ideal is still God. The thing is that Marx is using materialism as an alternative to Christianity. So there is still a God, but the essence of what God is not the Christian God. What is it in place of? It's hard to say because he's using dialectics to determine everything. And dialectics is literally trying to reuse definitions of terminologies so that they mean something entirely different when implemented.
Okay, so it's a 3-card Monty where he says God exists, but he'll never explain why. Got it.
Yes, exactly that.
Can I need
Just
more
breathe.
coffee.
Breathe.
I know. I just want to make this very painfully clear that this is how Marx is. He just explained to you why he believes what he believes and the lifestyle that he has. This is who the left idealize. And the irony of it all is that they practice his lifestyle exactly to the T, being the same obnoxious little pricks as he was.
And Bosch is pretty explicit about that.
Yes. I had to go through this a couple weeks ago when Glacier first read this book. She kept coming in my room every morning going, "It hurts. It hurts."
You gotta
You
add.
okay?
You gotta add the transgenderism though, with the Karl Marxism. You can mute me again. You can mute me again.
Yeah, got it.
Did she ever tell you why she ended up reading this book?
Oh, for a guy that I thought we might be able to like, a guy that I was dating was saying that he was a communist, and I'm just like, he was trying to convince me that
What?
communism wasn't. He was trying to convince me that communism wasn't bad, and it's just like, wait, no, communism is bad. And at that point,
That
I
wasn't the reason.
I
Who's
got
also a paralegal.
No,
He was-
somebody bullied you into reading it. Remember, we
I
weren't.
know I didn't. I did this to myself, ABG. I
We
wanted
were
to
doing
know
a
at the
debate, and they're like,
beginning-
"Have you even read Das Kapital?" And you're like, "Fine, I'll read it. I'll read it. I will."
No,
Huh.
this is shit book. It's so shit. It is so shit.
The overlap here between bullying and relationship is uncomfortable.
It's so shit. Anyway,
Okay, I will say this, Glacier. If you did this for a guy, you can absolutely save, fix confluence. Just saying.
no.
Wow, she sounds like a tropical bird at this
You-
point. What's going on?
You can fix confluence. We all believe in you. You need to do this. This is your destiny. This is your
Don't bring
destiny.
that degenerate's name
Confluence.
into conversation. It's not
Hold on.
good.
Confluence. If you can date a commie, you can date confluence. Confluence is less miserable than a communist.
He ended the relationship because I told him that I can't stand that
Sheila,
you can't
yeah.
trust Islamists.
Fucking Sheila, man.
Confluence is less miserable than that. Confluence won't. He'll fucking marry you. They give you kids.
Okay, going back to I'll explain. It's just like
Your children will have to live in the
Three card
shower.
Monty, all that stuff.
no. Anyways,
Your
yeah,
system.
I did
Get
read
my
all of
system.
I did read all of the Communist Manifesto because the Communist Manifesto was a pamphlet. It was one of the first proper closest thing to a book that Marx read because it was only 100 pages. Das Kapital took 15 years to make, and
What a
it
waste.
took him. Yes, he had to do this under threat by his commie group.
Talk about
His
audience
commie
capture.
group. Oh my gosh. He had to do it under threat by his commie group. And after he finished it, if you try to read it, people straight up say the first 5 chapters are the most difficult to actually understand. You have
Yeah,
to
but
be
it's not because they're
Devil.
hard. It's because they're dumb.
no,
have to-
it is very fucking stupid. It is so fucking stupid. But yeah, we'll watch a little bit more, and then I'll go over parts of Das Kapital because it's
But if you have smart people reading a stupid book, is that a Hegelian dialectic if they believe it and form a synthesis?
yes.
I don't like him saying dialectic.
It is technically a dialectic. It fits within the Hegelian mindset. It is a contradiction in itself.
Can we go over Minecraft next?
Later.
Mark that video for kids when you do. I'm kidding.
Oh no. That's a great way to get your channel taken down.
I'm not
Yep.
gonna do that. I'm not. Dear fuck.
Stop running over old ladies, K2.
Need my assistance.
Ba-doom boom. Ba-doom boom.
I keep it at a
Boom.
safe
Guys,
distance.
guys, let's continue the video.
Let's continue the video.
Then we have a new third position, which will also have an opposite. And this then gets reconciled again into a new third position. And so on until we, open up until we get to God. Therefore, using the dialectic, we can transcend this fake material reality that we're all trapped in. So it's the most basic language that I can come up with so that everyone can understand. The idea of dialectical idealism is defined as the transcendence of a fake reality to get to God.
That's twisted.
And that is Hegel. For the record, Hegel only died in the 1830s. So Marx was still young, but he did have Hegel had a large following. in the Prussian, like in the German state, and Marx was just one of the many people that got ideologically captured in that time period, because he, by the time he was growing, by the time he was an adult, Hegel only recently died.
Marx took Hegel, but replaced the Hegelian idealism with materialism. Marx's philosophy is known as dialectical materialism, which people have said is completely different to Hegel. And while Marx did say in Das Kapital that his philosophy was opposite to Hegel's idea, in practical terms, it wasn't. What did we say before? Material reality is created by the mind of God. It's powered by God, and therefore is also idealism. So materialism and idealism are two sides of the same coin. Marx comes at it from a different angle, but ultimately gets to the same conclusion, that we must transcend this fake reality in order to get to God. And that's what Marx's dialectical materialism actually means, the transcendence of the fake material reality.
My dialectic method is not only different from the Hegelian, but is its direct opposite. To Hegel, the life process of the human brain, i.e., the process of thinking, which under the name of the idea he even transforms into an independent subject, is the demiurgus of the real world. And the real world is only the external, phenomenal form of the idea. With me, on the contrary, the ideal is nothing else than the material world reflected by the human mind and translated into forms of thought. Ah, yes, because everybody listening to this knows exactly what you just said.
I want to highlight this is like, this is supposed to be from Das Kapital itself. I believe this was published in 1859. So Marx was like in his he was in his 50s. His brain was severely pickled. I'm just gonna say it. It was just severely pickled at this time. But he has this very rambling way of prosy literature, where it makes it very difficult to understand him, because he just likes poetically waxing 24/7. And if you don't understand it, then you're just too stupid.
The eternal college kid.
Yes, he is the eternal college kid. Only he's well over 30.
Imagine him with a skateboard over his shoulder. Hello, fellow children.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, yes.
And I won't have to explain this at all. What's that? 99% of the population did not understand this at all because Karl Marx is deliberately distorting the language in order to hide the religion he's in. Oh, okay. Well, I better explain it then. So, first off, we have the Christian God. According to the
Not seen here.
God created the material world as a prison for the soul of man. We are trapped here, imprisoned by a false materialistic God. And according to the Hermeticists, the true God is immaterial, and they call him the demiurgos. We need to overcome the material God in order to get to the true God that lies in the immaterial plane. So let's go through that again a bit slower. The ideal, which is the Christian God, is nothing else than the material world. So God is the world, reflected by the human mind. So the world, which is also God, is merely a reflection on the human mind. If there is no human mind, there is no reflection. There is no world. There is no God, because the world is merely a reflection on the human mind. The world and God, therefore, aren't real. They're just what the mind make them out to be. So this is evidence of this material world being the fake prison for the soul of man. But Karl Marx's dialectical materialism says we can overcome and transcend the fake material world, which is also God, and get to the true God above and beyond the fake God, which is Demiurgos. This is the exact same thing.
How much freaking opium do you have to do to have that theory?
I don't fucking know. He was smoking constantly. Smoking
Like,
constantly.
just like read it in a different voice. Like, with me, on the contrary, man, the ideal is nothing else in the material world.
No, AVG. It's
When
not.
it's like reflected
pretentious
by the
enough.
human mind and
That's why you
translated
don't
into
do drugs,
forms of
kids.
God.
Yes,
It's
you
not
don't do drugs.
pretentious enough.
You can't do the Beatnik voice. You have to do the actually voice when quoting Karl
Like,
Marx.
yeah, totally.
I will say this, which is
Like
actually
Valley Girl?
funny.
Yes.
This is actually really funny. It's just dumb. Once again, the Gnostics strike again. It's dumb Gnosticism.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So anybody that like straight up, if anybody says that Marx was an economist, no, he was not an economist. He wasn't even a philosopher. He technically got a philosophy degree, but he didn't put any academic work into that. He partied his ass through college and got
frat
some
boy.
stupid dissertation at best. Yes, he is. He is. He's a frat boy. What? God damn it. That's what you're expected from Steelman's most pretty much.
Okay, so in his mind, did
Mm.
real God make fake God, and we have to get past fake God Scarecrow to get to real God?
That is basically how he
Yeah.
broke it down. It's just like the only way that we can get to the true God is by fighting the fake God. And in this interpretation and how he's basically implementing it with communism, the fake God would be the capitalist. So we must destroy the capitalist, who is the fake God, to get to the communist utopia, which is supposed to be the true God, essentially.
Wow.
A headache? Do we all have a headache?
No, it's just satanic. It's just, and I don't use that like some crazy Baptist who just runs around calling everything satanic. The Rock is satanic. This cloud is satanic. I just, in terms of like, we are morally obligated to oppose God, is just about as fundamentally evil as it possibly gets.
Oh yeah, no. To say that Marx was of any good character would be inaccurate in any sense and stretch of the imagination. He uses people a lot throughout his life, and he spent so much money and jumped between living in luxury and living in squalor and never worked a day in his life.
Yikes.
No, you're totally correct to call it. Yeah, yes. But yeah, that was just how he chose to operate all the damn time. So where is it? Here, the Communist Manifesto. So let me just make sure I got this right when it was actually made. So wait, no. Communist Manifesto was made in 48. So Marx was actually 30 at the time. And then you have Das Kapital. Das Kapital. Oh dear. Originally published in 1867. That is Marx's official second book, for the record. And that had to have been done under threat. So he was like 50, how old? 59 at the time. Oh, that was very nice of you to read my comment. Oh, welcome.
Church lady.
Welcome in, CGT 2025.
Yes. Marx would have been a beta of simp if he were alive today. He'd have a Reddit that people walk. That's for sure about that. And
Yeah.
he was. He absolutely was. The thing is that he was understand that what he was promoting and what he was promoting was beyond radical for the time period, because this was a time period that was deeply religious. very deeply religious, but was dealing with an undercurrent of the Enlightenment being pushed. And Hegel, as well as Kant, as well as Voltaire, all of these men are part of the Enlightenment movement of trying to basically push as many radical ideas as possible. Marx grew to be a part of that movement, and his radicalism led him to being kicked out of multiple countries throughout Europe because of how dangerous it was deemed by the aristocracy itself. But we'll go over that at a different time. What I couldn't get over was for Das Kapital, he never explains what bourgeois is, ever. He barely explains it in the Communist Manifesto at all as well. Hold on. You know, I have to say, I feel like I see a lot of young people acting like the Marxist character nowadays. You are not wrong, Grace. I met one of them, and he was a 30-year-old man. He was basically a 30-year-old man talking about how he believed that communism was the best form of society, and then turned around through the other cheek, straight up said that he wanted private property. And I had to do a double take on him. It's just like, wait, why do you want private property? You can't have private property under a communist state.
But you can't have private property over a communist state.
Yes. Maybe that's what he meant.
Yeah.
I want other people's private property.
Okay. Okay. There is a difference. They have a difference between private and personal property. What is the difference between one and the other? Don't know. Why do they have it? Because they want to have stuff. But it's true. It exists. Just letting you know.
Personal property is the stuff you hid from everybody else.
Yes.
It's very Blue Jay coded. Very Blue Jay coded. We want to take your stuff.
I mean, he's not wrong though. We just, like, the beginning of the video literally broke down that the bourgeois are the Blue Jays. They are the Blue Jays. That was the very beginning of the video. He had to break down that the Communist Manifesto, that the communism is an anti-Semitic literature, deliberately by design.
But Karl Marx himself, I thought, again, I haven't done a deep dive like you, but I thought he himself was Jewish. So was he a self-hater?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, Clean Bigsby.
On both sides of his families, they were hyper religious and practicing Jewish people. His father switched over to a different religion so that he could actually get himself a government job and advance his career. His children were subjected to the ridicule of being Jewish, and Marx in turn ended up creating an entire philosophy behind basically being anti-Jew,
which is a defiance of Romans 9, 10, and 11, but we won't go there today.
Yes. So
please no,
we're not going to go over this. I do want to go over this. It's just like he manages to make Das Kapital, which was something that he advertised in the Communist Manifesto for over 15 years, for the record. Because the moment that he finished the Communist Manifesto, people were asking him, okay, so when are you going to explain all these ideas of how this is going to manifest? And he kept saying, it's just like, I'm working on it. I'm working on it. For 15 years, he says, I've been working on it.
404, file not found.
Yes. So like one of the first things that I couldn't get over is just like his fucking definitions of commodity, because that's the closest thing, the closest thing to him breaking down anything was him trying to explain what a commodity would be.
Anything I want at the time.
Almost. So just listen. A commodity is, in the first place, an object outside of us.
Okay.
That is the beginning. At a thing that by its property satisfies human wants or some sort or another. The nature of such want, whether, for instance, they spring from the stomach or from fancy, makes no difference.
Holy shit.
Which could include humans at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We have
very
nothing to lose
familiar.
but our chains, and to put them on you because you're a commodity, because I desire you in an idealistic way.
Jeez.
Remember,
Morning.
I debated a communist. He literally said, "Money can mean whatever you want it to mean." It was like, no, money is
Yep.
a resource, my man. It doesn't just spring from your imagination. It doesn't work that
Well,
way.
that's the other thing. When you say you must
That's-
seize the means of production, are people a means of production?
Mm.
He gets more complicated the further you go down the first 5 chapters. I'm telling you this.
God.
Not soon. It's gonna be all replaced by robots.
Mm.
Hey, we've got Andrew's black ex-wife in the chat. Good morning, Jadolf.
Hey, morning,
soon
J-Doll.
we're gonna be replaced by robots, and then we won't have means of production.
Yes.
Don't give the
Oh,
robots
God.
a communist manifesto.
Mm.
Yeah, do not upload those books.
They're already doing that. There was one in China that mined its own currency, so it knows it needs the currency. We can get them to strike.
Dear Lord. Anywho, I'm not even finished. I'm not even finished with the definition though. So,
Okay,
where
keep
were we?
going. Yes,
Sorry,
keep
go
going.
Yeah,
ahead.
here we are. Neither are we here concerned to know how the object satisfies these wants, whether directly as means of sustenance or indirectly as means of production.
Hmm.
So, almost anything can be a commodity, and I don't know what to do with this. It's just like 15 years on this book, his magnum opus.
Giant steaming pile of crap.
Yeah. He wrote a book for all hipster bad boys. Hipster bad boys. My God.
Yeah,
I think I now understand. He speaks to me. That's what's happening.
yes, he
Oh,
speaks
no.
to me. Only this, and this part speaks to me the most. And everything else we can discard. It's just like, but that's the book. I don't care.
uh,
It's oh my gosh. And so technically, so it says that the first part of this is supposed to be the 2 factors of commodity, which is the use value and value. So it's just like, what the fuck is the difference between use value and value? Whose dog is that?
It's the
My
communist
dog.
hating dog.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
he hates the commies.
Good.
Dogs
We can-
Kapital.
We can set him off. It's just like, I don't want to work because I'm lazy, but yes. I mean, I should show you the first paragraph of the Communist Manifesto. I was reeling so hard reading that first paragraph because it is beyond ahistorical, and it's just like how can I determine who's proletariat versus who's bourgeoisie? Because how you use these terms, they're interchangeable. There were
Wherever the gun is
nobility-
pointed.
Yeah, oh my gosh, pretty much. Anybody could be bourgeois and anybody could be proletariat, and people can flip between the 2 classes at any given time at this point.
Well, the easiest way is, do I like you? If the answer is no, you're bourgeois. If the answer is yes, you are.
yes.
No,
It's-
really convenient.
It's somewhere between
Yes.
transgenderism and a witch hunt put together.
Oh God.
Oh dear
Ooh.
Lord.
That sounds like quite the evening.
Mm.
Oh, it would be quite the evening. Hold on. You broad. Are you streaming next? I'm thinking about doing a debate. Oh no.
That's me. I am broad. Broad is
You're-
I.
You are broad? Broad is you?
Yeah.
Okay. So now he's
Everybody comes up with
introducing-
their own names when they don't want a dead name, and I insist on it. Sometimes you get something nice like Daria. Other times you get something like more, brutish, like
Broad.
Yeah.
Or literal like AVG.
Yes.
I'm just gonna stick with AVG.
I am streaming, if not later today or early tomorrow. The next time I'll be on, I think I'm slated to go on Fatty's panel on Thursday evening. That's my next confirmed appearance.
Are you gonna
Oh.
go on fatties?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you did say that.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
the?
He's been asking for a bit, and I think it's good exposure. and he seems
Actually,
to
that would
have.
be fantastic.
Lord.
That would be fantastic exposure for you.
Emmett's not a
Oh
fan.
my God.
Is that where Speakeasy debated on feminism 4-on-4?
Yes.
I
Yeah.
believe so.
Yes.
Mm.
Okay, who wants to figure out what exchange value is?
Oh gosh.
Oh,
Like the dark
re-exam.
definition or
Re-exam
the
wants to know.
actual definition?
I wonder if I
we're
can
using-
know.
We're using Marx's terminology, so it's just
Oh.
gonna be a guess.
Whatever he thinks he can get for something if he provides something in exchange.
So yeah, exchange value as he interprets it. Exchange value, at first sight, presents itself as a quantitative relation, as proportion in which values in use of one sort are exchanged for those of another sort. A relation constantly changing with time and place. So, who understood that? If they
I mean,
choose-
it's basically what I said with a couple more words thrown in.
I want to clip the edges off the coins and inflate
oh my
the value.
gosh. Because of
Yeah,
Bougie
because-
Boy. Uh-huh. Go ahead, Emmett.
Yeah, because Fuji boy who followed communism wasn't considered a bougie boy, but a friend of the proletariat. Communists vaguely define everything, so you can accuse as needed.
I know.
Well, it's listen, if you got to philosophies for me are broken into like two categories most of the time, 2 or 3. And the idea would be that at one point when you go into you either go to a place in which you understand there's something greater than yourself, so you humble yourself so you can be part of a greater thing in a sense, or you become a slave of your own desires. And most of the time what they're doing is they put words that are becoming pretty much a slaves of their own desires.
Yeah. I noticed that it's almost very interesting because philosophy used to be one of the classical it used to be a huge part of education in when it came to classical education before the American and system changed everything. And how philosophy was taught in the early like in the past is that it was broken down into 3 categories where you had to first understand the metaphysics of a concept, then you had the epistemology of that concept, and then after that the last part is that you would have the ethics. And that was how it was taught: metaphysics, epistemology, ethics. But a lot of today's philosophy hyperfixates on the ethics without actually exploring the metaphysics. And you see this like I've noticed this a lot whenever Jay debates a lot of different people because he's a philosophy major, where he literally breaks down the own concepts that people are people are arguing against them, and he says like you don't even realize what you're talking about because you never bothered to go to break down what the epistemology, much less the metaphysics are, because you weren't taught it, because you never explored it, because you just didn't know. And I found that to be interesting, but also rather concerning.
Well,
Interesting
the
books.
point is that philosophy, especially New Age philosophy, doesn't have that because it doesn't
yes.
care about it. It's
Doesn't
it's a
care.
preference based. It's just preference based. You're talking about what the preference of the being is, and all of the philosophy and the epistemology comes from the being itself. This is why postmodernism specifically uses constructivism without any of the framework that was set up by Piaget. Yeah, it is what it is. Like you have to understand that, and the critique is the critique that J. Dyer gives, right? It's like, well, if that is the case, then there's no actual foundation. It's just it's just a
the
preference
ethics.
based.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It is ultimately preference based because you don't have a metaphysical layer that grounds it at all. So yeah. Here we go. Exchange value, was it? Let's see. Hence, exchange value appears to be something accidental, purely relative, and consequently and intrinsic value, i.e., an exchange value that is inseparably connected with, inherent in commodities, seems a contradiction in terms. So let us consider the matter a little more closely. So he wants to break down exchange values now. So he gives two different forms of commodities, I think. Whereas the given commodity, and then, oh gosh, this part was something else. I don't understand. It's just like an interesting book on Marx is querying the American children, how a new school religious cult poisons the minds and bodies of normal kids, by Logan Lansing and James Lindsay in 2024. Interesting. Yeah, a lot of his philosophies are now definitely plaguing the education system, deliberately so, especially when you consider the fact that a lot of liberal-minded people are pushing themselves into education and are pushing a lot of radical ideas onto little children who are still forming their little minds. So, yeah. Anywho, yes. So, let's see. A given commodity. Let's see if I could understand this or break this down at all. A given commodity, as in a quarter of wheat, is exchanged for X, blacking, Y, silk, or Z, gold. In short, for other commodities in the most different proportions. So instead of one exchange value, the wheat has henceforth a great many. But since X, blacking, Y silk, or Z gold. I don't know what that symbol means.
All right, anything like smells of math, I'm out. You guys have a good one. I'll catch you on the flip.
Oh my
See ya.
gosh. Yeah, no. Each representing the exchange value of 1/4 of wheat, X blacking, Y silk, Z gold must as exchange values be replaceable by each other, or equal to each other. Henceforth, first, the valid exchange values of a given commodity expresses something equal. Secondly, exchange value generally is only the mode of expression, the phenomenal form of something contained in it, and yet distinguishable from it. So, it's a load of shit. Is all that I could think of.
Yeah, he's just pulling stuff out of his butt.
He does pull a lot of stuff out his butt. And the thing is that he continues to go off and adds more strange and foreign concepts on top of everything that he establishes, until it becomes completely and totally like it turns into a mass. Like, the more that I was listening to it, the more that I was throwing my brows and knitting, trying to, like, what the fuck are you talking about? I don't know how many times I just threw up my arms. It's just like, this makes no sense. This doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, but he doesn't know what he's talking about either, is what I'm like. It's all very jumbled. There doesn't seem to be any cohesion to his thought patterns here.
There isn't. And like I said, I'm pretty sure that his brain was pickled, because this is the best that he got. This is 15 years of work, apparently. That's what we're supposed to believe. This is the 15 years of his work, and this is the end product of his magnum opus. Not to mention that this is technically volume 1 of, I think, 4, and he only wrote maybe 2 of those volumes because he passed away after the second one. Oh my gosh. And Engels had to finish the rest of it, which is something that is a reoccurring theme when it comes to Marx. It sounds like Marx is trying to combine bartering, and the monetary system together and calling it one thing and say it's bad. Yes, actually he is. He does it. He has no idea what commerce is at all. So with that being said, I think, honestly, who probably puts it best, it might just be Tick who puts it best, which
he's even like, I mean, he's very dry British guy. Like it's not. I think he could have put a bit more spunk into it.
I think part of it is like he's trying to balance. I Tick seems to have a lot of beef with with capitalism. Not capitalism. He has a lot of beef with lefty ideals. So it is dry, but I like how factual he is the entire time. All of the resources that he has for it, he actually puts down 2 links for the source, which I think I can just. I'll put the link to the YouTube channel in Tick's video, but he does have links and resources to where we could actually read it for ourselves about what's going on. Because he does try to force and insinuate a lot of political system, a lot of a lot of history that happened. He tries to say that the reason why this happened was because of their misunderstanding of something, or just try to project this sort of idea without really acknowledging it. At one point he talks about what is it? Like at one point he wants to say that precious metals are the only form of currency that can be had, even though it's just even though there have been cases where other certain civilizations used such as use things like seashells as a form of currency, or something along those lines. That
I'm pretty
the
sure that Tennessee or one place at one point, one of the currencies they used was bundles of tobacco. So
Yeah. For the Aztecs, it was cacao as a form of currency, which that was heavy. That got heavy quick. Mark's thoughts on Das Kapital. Das not good. Yes. In an essence, no item is equal to another to multiple people, which is why bartering existed for so long. Yes, there needed to be an intermediary. Actually, ultimately, it led to people creating an intermediary so that they didn't need to constantly having to negotiate and barter exchanges. There was a unit of measurement that could decide on what exchanges are, so that they didn't need to, so that if they couldn't find what they needed to in that day, but they were able to sell off whatever goods that they had, they could sell it off, have the funds for a rainy day. It's just like, this is like the most basic understanding of economics, and lefties rebuke this entirely, arguing that someone owes you their labor is a pro-slavery position. Today leftists
Yeah,
continue
that's
arguing.
wild.
Funny that you should say that. Marx was
'Cause-
pro-slavery.
Of course he was. That's just like the
was.
craziest reason for it, though. I mean, this reaching to the nth degree.
Well, his communist state would have had slaves in it. So you would technically, his communist state would have 3 categories: the bourgeoisie, the proletariats, as well as the slaves. I guess he imagined that all labor would have been taken care of by the slaves, while the proletariat were supposed to rule the bourgeois class. At least this is what I believe would have been what Marx was saying or trying to describe. Of
But
course,
Anson's
Marx
right about the
leads.
ass backwards way that he approaches it. At least how people have taken Marx's theories and adopted them in a leftist sense today, right? It's rather backward from what Marx, I mean, I like to say intended, but I don't know if the guy put much thought into anything based on these papers.
I mean, these are his actual works, and this is something that people flocked to. No, not people. Radicals flocked to. I have to say specifically radicals, because, like I said, he was kicked out of every other European country until he reached Britain, which he spent the rest of his life in Britain, because he kept on trying to publish radical pieces.
Literature.
Yes, radical literature about breaking down the state, i.e., breaking down all of the nobility. Even though he was always communicating and could easily access nobility as well as aristocracy.
It's the classic look here, not there attempt at concealment.
Pretty much. Not to mention that, like, I think a lot of people also confuse the idea that when the Industrial Revolution sprang up, everywhere was industrializing. That wasn't the case. Because that wasn't the case at all. Industrialization happened at very different rates, with the biggest places that did actually go through industrialization being England. I believe England, France, and Germany might have been the top locations.
PRB gonna use the
Yeah, go right
last
ahead.
one.
Go ahead. Most factories in my country. Here. I'm not interested. Fuck off. So here we go. So historical leads. It says that, yeah, Great Britain, the initial initiated the revolution, dominated the textiles and steam engines, while Germany and the U.S. rapidly followed as major industrial powers in the late 19th century. So that is the late 1800s. I want to focus on the Industrial Revolution. True industrialization. How about industrialization? Nation. This would be the 19th century. Yeah. Second Industrial Revolution was the midpoint. But yeah. Because when it came to the industrialization, technically industrialization happened as early as the 1700s in Britain, but it didn't really reach its peak until like the midpoint of the 1800s entirely. What does it say? You should change your handle to ortho broad. Oh my gosh. Where is it? So how about most factories?
Wait, it's not ortho broad. It's what did you call yourself? I think it was ortho bitch or something like that.
Well, she was called an ortho bitch. Yes. It's factories in the 19th century.
No, that's
Country.
I mean, yeah, but
My country.
No, I was called the most devout. I'm the most devout Orthodox person on the face of the earth, and I am apparently the representative for the Orthodox community, despite only being a catechumen and having like been going to church less than a year. But yeah, that's me, monastery bound.
Indeed. Oh my gosh. So basically, let's see. But yeah, I know that the top few countries, but yeah, the biggest locations that ended up industrializing the most was Britain, Germany, and the United States, as well as France. France was more so middle of the road. And then when you have the least amount of industrialization, I believe that Spain was medieval as fuck. When it came to industrialization. But if you were like you were to talk to anybody about any lefty about it, the industrialization, they make it seem like it all happened at the same time, but no, it didn't. It more so was sporadic. So
well, it happened in stages. Like it started in certain countries and then it moved towards other countries and just happened in stages.
Yes. Basically, I know that for Britain in particular, that was a huge boon for them. Industrialization was a huge boon for them because their tiny little island struggled to produce much of anything. just because of its location being so high up north. So they ended up using industrialization as a form of boosting their economy, where they would always just take a bunch of raw materials, refine it, and then sell it off to different shores as a way of boosting their economy and making them a powerhouse in a sense, which was very successful. They were, I think, possibly one of the strongest during the 1800s. Certainly instrumental in taking down Napoleon, who came basically at the very beginning of the 19th century. So yeah.
It's just that he's going about it in a different way.
This is why, despite calling
Sorry, I just read System Crash. AVG speaks for all Christians, really. And that was funny.
Oh, she's not even here to disavow it. You know, she would have said that. Disavow.
No. Now we know. Now it's true.
AVG is our overlord.
Daria speaks for every Christian.
Yes, she shall speak for every Christian around. Marx was beneficiary of his father. Yes, he was. He was a spoiled child, never grew up. His philosophy was basically a cult of Peter Pan. Yes, it absolutely was.
But Anson, it was just that teeny tiny little boy, 18, barely 18 years old. How dare you? That's abuse, okay? So Anson, stop abusing the tiny itty bitty 18-year-olds, okay?
I know. It's just like
she also speaks
his father should have
PNN
made him go get a job.
No, on TPN News.
No, you are TPNN. Daria is PNN.
I am. Yeah, Daria is PNN News. I am TPN News.
Yeah, you are trash. Yeah, you.
Trash Panda News. Trash Panda News.
I was just gonna stay at trash, but fine. Trash Panda.
PNN News was shut down. Was it? Emmett, are you still doing PNN News or no?
Well, the
he got missiles shot by him by his panel.
Yeah, the thing is, panel. I don't see any reason to continue PNN, because I think the whole point was to cover like the news of the kind of the panel verse in a sense.
Right.
But after the last like couple of things that have happened, there's no reason.
It hasn't been much of a juice. Hasn't been worth the squeeze.
Well, no, there's nothing. Like, what was the last thing that happened? There was a debate between Daria and a literal witch, and then they literally have been coping about the debate for a week straight, and that's it. That's not even interesting.
And Orthodox got his channel taken away
to make fun of that kind of thing. Oh yeah, and the other part is there's a lot of people right now that will start like trying to take retaliation and stuff like that. And I don't even mean the creators. I mean the people around them. So there's no reason. Yeah, there's like no reason for me to even.
Not yet, but he's still keeping notes when it dies down.
What are we talking about? I was just toasting some bread for a sandwich.
We were talking about how you're going to give us the lottery numbers in each of our states.
I'm not a psychic. I don't practice in the devil's magic. So. Madam Cleo, don't know how to read your fortune.
It's just like I will miss the
I didn't say it was fortune. There was a rumor that you had the winning lottery numbers for each of our states.
No. Is the Paleverse saying that too? That's crazy.
No, I just made up something.
Oh my gosh. So let's see. Going over
chat. Just to clarify, chat, I am not going to be starting my own ministry, and I do not speak for PNN.
You speak for every single Christian. Okay, stop it. Stop the cap.
That's disappointing, AVG. You could have been an overlord.
I know, right? Well, like I said, I'm already in the League of Female Debaters, which is kind of like the the disadvantaged kids soccer team, because like all the female debaters suck. So except for like Rachel Rachel.
The League of Female Debater.
Oh, okay, I
Rachel.
understand. A lot of heavy lifting from Rachel over there. Yes, that is understandable.
Rachel, yeah, that's
And
basically it.
yes, oh my god.
Everybody
The
else
po-
was
the
like
point of-
challenged.
Yeah, the only thing about that, what I'm saying in that, is not that there's no interesting people that sometimes pop up and it would be fun to have a conversation with. It's much of I don't think there's any reason to put my channel at risk by talking to people that not only I disagree with, but the great idea to fix the society is the deletion of babies. So it's like there's absolutely no reason nor need for me for keep
To really entertain that, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I'll be going on OGs, like even in the chat. It's just like they just do weird crap about it. And like yesterday you should have seen the clips this guy was trying to go through just to not debate me. Like I'm just gonna wait.
yeah,
if he debates
you
me,
gotta
great.
pay him 500.
No, it's up to 1,000. He kept raising the bounty because they kept calling him a little bitch in the chat.
Oh my gosh.
He's like, I hate you. You do it again, I'm gonna up the price by $100. And I'm like, do it, you little bitch.
Oh my
Okay.
gosh. So I'm totally justified in calling him that.
I still can't even believe that bounties are a real thing. She had to explain it to me 3 times. It's
Yes,
just,
I
He won't
did.
even take the 5. He said it has to be paid up front. He wants the funding to be paid up front, $500 up front, which is how much he thinks he would earn from a debate show, which is hilarious because he's never even done a debate show. So what exactly would be the metric?
No, he's not even, he says that he hates debate. Oh my gosh, this loser. Anywho.
Yeah,
He's my
yeah.
intellectual superior.
You can pay me
Glacier.
$500.
Remember? I'm his intellectual inferior.
Why isn't he trying to teach you? If he's supposed to be your superior, shouldn't he be trying to teach you some mad debate skills?
I have learned a lot about how to avoid debates and look like a little bitch.
Damn, that's cold, woman.
I don't care. He called me a spinster and said I was 38. Fatty has it coming.
Spinster.
I mean,
Pretty funny.
okay.
I'm spinster maxing at 35.
Yeah. All right, let's go back. Get
All
back
right.
to the video.
Back to the video.
Self-being materialist, Marx hated reality. Marx despised the free market, money and physical possessions, classifying these as little more than materialistic things. But material is fake, right? It's merely a reflection of the human mind. Therefore, he said, we need to live on a more spiritual existence.
Oh my God.
Why many socialists and third positionists will chastise people like me, saying things like, you're just a believer in base materialism. We're existing on a higher spiritual level. That's where that's coming from. Their failure to do anything in life is dismissed by their claim that they're operating on some higher spiritual plane. Of course, they're not in reality, and I'm not a materialist either. Reality is objective, not material. The world is not reflected from our minds. We are part of the world, and physical possessions are a requirement for our continued existence. But we actually see this disconnect in Karl's and Jenny's letters to each other. He was constantly declaring his love to her, writing entire books of soppy and often disturbing poetry to her, and just being a big sissy drip. Somehow, she wasn't completely put off by this, but she did complain about it.
Darling, thou hast drunk of poison, and now thou must depart with me. Now the night has fallen, there is no longer any day. He pressed her violently to his heart, death on her breath and breast. She was pierced by deeper pain, and her eyes were closed forever. Wow, so romantic. Jenny was not altogether reassured by the beautiful, touching, passionate love, the indescribably beautiful things you say about it, the inspiring creations of your imagination. She was concerned about the permanence of such love. That is why I am not so wholly thankful for, so wholly enchanted by your love, as it really deserves. That is why I often remind you of external matters of life and reality, instead of clinging wholly, as you can do so well, to the world of love, to absorption in it, and to a higher, dearer spiritual unity with you, and in it forgetting everything else, finding solace and happiness in that alone.
Marx truly was living in the spiritual world of nothing. However, there's another, perhaps more simpler way of understanding what the dialectic is actually about, and this is how it manifests itself in practice.
In Marx,
So I find it funny. It's just like here he is trying to pacify his girlfriend slash wife by writing poetry, and she's literally putting the poetry aside. It's just like, okay, I get it, you love me and all that, but how are we supposed to get by? My sister's yes, my sister's a goat. Indeed. It's just like how are we supposed to get by at all?
Marxism, there are always two ways, at least, of looking at anything and everything. And the reconciliation of these views are attained only by dialectic artificialities. The commonest device is to use, according to the needs of the moment, a word to which more than one meaning may be attached. With these words, which at the same time serve as political slogans to hypnotize the mass psyche, a cult suggestive of fascism is carried on. The Marxist dialectic is essentially word fascism. Every article of the phrase is embodied in a word whose double or even multiple meaning makes it possible to unite incompatible demands.
Yes, I think Ludwig von Mises was alive during the time of Nazi Germany, so that's why he's using that terminology. That's why he's using that terminology. But the Marx was before that the time of the Schmatzis.
Sorry, guys, I didn't realize that I had my mic on. What is the bleeped out word?
It's fascism.
Oh,
I think it's
to bleep
Mises.
fascism.
Ludwig von Mises, but maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, Ludwig was around was writing books during the time, I think post Nazi Germany.
Okay.
Post Schmazi Germany. So he's actually comparing Schmazi Germany's fascism to communism because technically they're they are designed to they were interconnected very much by design. On more so Schmittler's and Mussolini's end.
And that's bleeped out why?
These words.
YouTube censorship, Nick.
Uh
Yeah, it's a fun time, isn't it?
yeah.
It's
I like
because
just
of
to
the
say windmills.
yeah. It's because of the F's, the F regimes of this century instead of the F regimes of the past century.
Yeah.
With you guys talking like that, I kind of want to conquer France.
Who doesn't?
Hey, you know who also
Not
wanted
hard.
to conquer France?
Everybody.
Napoleon.
Schmitzler. Well, Napoleon was
Right
French.
here.
Napoleon was French, for the record. So
You mean
he
this?
already had that down
this,
packed.
this
Well, but he did conquer
outlet,
France.
This
Well, he became
shadow
France's
pitcher.
emperor. He became France's emperor first.
How did
and
you
then he
become an
conquered all of
emperor
Europe.
if you don't conquer France?
He was already a French soldier, so he was basically making himself as popular as possible, and then he turned around and
Yeah.
said, "Yes, I am the emperor of France," and everybody just applauded him. is the
Yeah, by conquering France. He conquered France.
That's
and
the
then
best
he
way to do
almost
it.
conquer all of Europe. Yeah.
gosh, yeah, no, a bloodless conquering indeed.
Sefer Moscow got Napoleon.
Yes, you, that did end up poorly for him, didn't it?
Mm-hmm.
They always retreat, never engage before in the fall. Winter is a bitch out there.
Yeah, well, that, and then on top of the fact, the by then, the Russian troops already knew enough about French tactics where they didn't really focus on their logistics when it came to their food supply. So all that they had to do was go to every civilization ahead of Napoleon, kick them out of their villages and tell them to go elsewhere, and then burn down all their food stocks so that they had nothing to eat off of, since they survived by scavenging.
Words. By industrial revolution, Marxism means the gradual transformation of the pre-capitalistic way of production into the capitalist way of production. Revolution here means the same as development, and the contrast between the terms evolution and revolution is almost extinguished. But when Marx calls the workers' movement a revolutionary movement and says that the working class is the only true revolutionary class, he is using the term in the sense that suggests barricades and street fights.
Remember before when I explained that the Jews were the bourgeoisie? That's another example of a word that means something else. The word bourgeoisie has two meanings. It's dialectic, because when the true Marxist intellectuals use the term, they're referring to the Jews. But you think they're referring to the middle class. And class itself actually means race. And perhaps most importantly, the term socialism is itself dialectic. It has multiple meanings. It simultaneously means state control and non-state control.
Are modern day commies anti-Semitic though, by far and large? I don't think so.
No, they are.
Yes, they
now,
are.
are
They
they?
hate Israel.
Yeah.
They hate Israel, not
And I
necessarily.
guess by
all.
modern terms, that makes them anti-Semitic, apparently.
By modern terms, yeah, but I think their hate for that country is not because of they're trying to stay true to Marxism at all.
Wait, they
Because of
literally
34 count felon that supports
just-
them.
they literally Shayla, stop. They literally added the category of the Blue Jays as white.
They moved the Blue Jays to be white now?
They are white in consideration because they are the ones with
Not if you talk to
capital.
a Jew.
No, of course. Oh God.
I mean, I always classify them as like black adjacent because of how poorly they've been treated.
They haven't been treated poorly.
What are you talking about? They're like the blacks. They're the biggest victims. You don't hear the Japanese after getting nuked twice complaining about Americans.
I mean, that's why I say like black.
That's
Did
as far as I'm
somebody
going to go with
redirect
that.
us to Did somebody redirect us to the Wildest Wake Up Show and I didn't realize?
Welcome to the Anti-Blue Jay show starring Glacier Maniac.
Disavow.
Okay.
You're right. That's the Confluence 358 show.
I need to visit that. Anywho.
It's the Blue Jays. The Blue Jays. It's the Blue Jays.
That song. Anyways, basically the I mean, for a lot of present day socialists, I keep on no, a lot of present day socialists will refuse to say that they're the same thing as commies, even though socialism is like commie light. Socialism was only accepted and wasn't ran out of town because of the fact that it wasn't so extreme as to say the state needed to be destroyed. That is might be the only difference between socialism and communism. But communism, that was straight up illegal.
Socialism is just a stage of of communism. If you read, if you read what's his name? This fucking guy. I don't remember his name right now. But
Mussolini?
No, it's not Mussolini. Lenin. If you read what Lenin has to say about it, he's just saying, well, yes, you cannot force it directly upon them, and they're going to have a transitional period in which they will be under the socialist idea, and then they will move towards the proper communist society
Yes.
that we all want.
Yeah, pretty
I got a
much.
communist to admit that on Confluence, Mexican Mel, that say that
Oh,
I'm gonna use the wrong word here, the Holodomor. There wasn't enough people that died in that.
The
yeah,
Holodomor.
actually, yes.
She can't say that on YouTube.
You can say Holodomor. Why not?
I don't know. I was told you can't, so I
I don't know
mispronounced it
what
on
I can and
purpose.
can't say, honestly.
You cannot.
Anywho,
You cannot say that that didn't happen, but you can say Holodomor.
okay. Let me go through a couple of comments. So, what do you call a country that with nuke strikes? Nothing. You already told them twice. No. Oh dear. There is definitely a horseshoe theory that works with anti-J and the right and the far left. I've met far lefties who complain about anti-Js on the far left. Yeah. I've noticed that there's a lot of shoe horseshoe theories, like horseshoe theories as well between the right and the left, but maybe that it's almost existent in any paradigm. So I follow a lot of fascists. They also view capitalism as a Jewish construct and hate it for that reason. The National Socialist fascists, the global socialists, communists both agree on the Jew on Jew. Yep, yeah, yeah. I
Oh, can we
mean,
read Henry Ford's book too?
Henry Ford's um
Yeah, he didn't like him either.
uh, gosh, it's so consistent everywhere we go.
110 countries.
Actually, yes, I would like and sub, please. This would be very helpful as I try to do a different sort of stream outside of my creative shit. I do like history and I like exploring history and I do like dabbling in philosophy, but yeah.
Total control of the means of production, totalitarianism, whilst also meaning democracy. The word democracy also means both freedom and totalitarianism. And I'm sure you can think of many other terms that the socialist comes out with that have multiple meanings. But it's all done to hide their true intentions and to hopefully sucker people into their religion. And as I've said many times now, it's all a trick.
Considering Marx's narcissistic personality, uncompassionate behavior, character assassination against his own devotees, ideological dishonesty, and obsession with twisting his words around to suit his own agendas, Marxism agitated for a fallacious metaphysical vision of the world. In essence, Marxism became a paradox masquerading as a revolved contradiction. Marx's dedicated sidekick, Engels, turned his contemptuous scorn towards the proletariat. And I'll just interject to say that the word proletariat is dialectic. It has multiple meanings too.
Oh my god, I hate fucking
Truly mean
dialectic.
That is how Marx thrives of it.
It's the
You're ki-
dumbest fucking bullshit I ever heard in my life.
This is
It's
why.
just word concept fallacy over and over and over again.
Yes, this is why Marx is no different to Hegel.
Maybe we should speed up the speed of the video, you know?
Sure. We'll get through a little bit more.
And then we can get on with our lives.
Yes.
Yeah, I do have to work at some point today, you know.
Of course.
I'm
I'll
working.
probably- Oh my gosh. Where is it? There we go. We'll put it to 1.25 and see how that goes. And I'll probably rethink how I do the next video.
working people. In private, he had nothing but contempt and ridicule for workers. He referred to the proletariat as those censorship donkeys, or those stupid workers who believed everything. In another letter to Marx, he questioned the workers' intelligence, accusing them of bad character and finding their drowsiness and petty jealousy disgusting. The point is to say that you cannot take the rhetoric at face value. You have to understand that the words they're using are not the same as those in the dictionary.
we have to question what they're saying and peer behind the curtain to figure out exactly what their true meanings are. And we'll see some more of this as we go forward. After getting his degree, Karl Marx did nothing. Rather than get a job, he wandered around aimlessly between Bonn, Trier, and Cologne, wondering what to do next. His father had wanted him to become a lawyer, but he had chosen to become a philosopher, and that meant doing nothing. There's no career path for a philosopher. So,
I mean, that is
Is he
accurate.
wrong?
He's not wrong. There was no application of being a philosopher even during that time period, which is why his father insisted that you need to find a way of making an income, Marx. Please make an income, Marx. What did he do
Income,
instead?
Marx.
Marx, money. You need to
A
provide.
Marx.
Marx, you have a wife. You need to pay for her too.
Are you sure? Why would his dad be calling him by their own family last name? Wouldn't it be like, oh, little Carlito, go out and make it a mula? Need more pesos
Now I
for the
want-
family, Carlito.
He lost
Now I
it.
want Taco Bell. Thanks, Pate. Or AVG.
What is the saying? Echo
Sorry.
Taco Bell. Or,
Oh my
what is it?
gosh.
What
This
is
is
the
why so
thing?
many young people follow Marx are overweight layabouts. I
Yes.
mean, yeah, they're hipster. Like it's either that or they're just straight up hipsters. They don't really like to produce in society at all. They think that somebody else should do it, but then when you give the power to the people, who's going to want to produce in a society that is encouraged not to?
Yes.
relations with his mother
Yo
soured.
quiero Taco Bell. Leave mass.
It's
Toquero.
all right. They're gonna replace everybody with robots. It's gonna be good.
Yes.
No, you're giving me like flashbacks to my eugenics debate again. Okay.
Oh,
Oh gosh, I'm so
Eugenics.
misguided.
Eugenics.
Eugenics. The eugenics.
But after his father's death, mainly thanks to Karl's abandonment of his family, and she refused to give him his inheritance. And I want to make one thing clear. Karl Marx didn't get a degree in economics. He was a philosopher, not an economist. George Young viewed Marx not as a political revolutionary, but a theological, philosophical revolutionary who was attempting to overthrow the entire social system, not just an economic system. And I absolutely agree. It's a religious philosophical system that ultimately has its origins right back in the ancient Greek Orthics, if not beyond. But that's a topic I've talked about previously, so I won't go there today. So, in July 1841, Karl Marx went to stay with Bruno Bauer in Bonn and spent the summer doing nothing but smoking, getting drunk, laughing in church, riding into towns on the backs of dogs,
Banging hoes.
and just
living the dream.
work at all costs.
Living the dream.
Yes, this was the dream. Imposturing Jesus while he smoked, drank, and fucked around with a bunch of his friends.
I wonder if he had the clap. I bet he had the clap.
The
Mm.
clap?
The clap.
Yeah.
Clap.
The clap.
Whenever-
It's a venereal disease.
Oh, possibly.
For that Easter season, 1842, Bruno and Karl went to the nearby village of Godesberg, which was
Oh,
a
this was
favourite
interesting.
excursion site from Bonn, rented donkeys, and rode them through the village in what was a direct and deliberate parodying of the entrance of Jesus into Jerusalem.
Kind of
That's
like Kieran
what
with
it
those
is.
kangaroos.
Probably get a good chuckle out of the display.
Indeed.
It was probably the kind of thing that admiring Marx biographer Francis Wien had in mind when he wrote about it with a smile. In late 1842, Marx finally got a job at the Rheinische Zeitung, a newspaper set up with his friends, funded by bourgeois capitalist investors, proving once again that capitalism and socialism are two sides of the same coin. But it's clear that Marx had other priorities. One night, Karl Marx and the journalist Karl Heinzen went out drinking and wandered home after several bottles of wine. As soon as I was in the house, he shut the doors, hit the key, and jeered comically at me that I was his prisoner. He asked me to follow him up into his study. On arrival, I sat myself down on the sofa to see what on earth this marvellous crank would get up to. He came over to me, gave me to understand that he had me in his power, and with a malice that recalled an imp rather than the intended devil, he began to attack me with threats and cuffs. I begged him to
What the
spare me
hell?
this sort of thing.
Oh, it gets better.
Keep going. Keep going.
Went against the grain.
Wait,
to
Saint
come back.
Seraphim Rose has been canonized.
Wait, what?
W.
This sounds
Again?
like the intern at JP Mortgage. That's what it's reminded me of.
Yeah, this story is interesting and it gets better. I assure you.
In the same coin, when he did not stop, I gave him a serious warning that I would deal with him in a way which he would certainly feel. And when that too did no good, I saw myself compelled to dispatch him into the corner of the room. When he got up, I said that I found his personality boring and asked him to open the door. Now it was his turn to be triumphant. Go home then, strong man, he mocked, and added a most comical smirk. It was as though he was chanting the words from Faust, "There is one imprisoned inside." At least the sentiment was similar, although his unsuccessful imitation of Mephistopheles made the situation comic in the extreme. In the end, I warned him that if he would not open the door for me, then I would get it open myself and he would have to pay for the damage. Since he only answered with mocking sneers, I went down, tore the front door off its lock, and called out to him from the street that he should shut the house up to prevent the entry of thieves. Dumb with amazement that I had escaped from his spell, he leaned out of the window and goggled at me with his small eyes, like a wet goblin.
So yeah, he basically invites the guy into his house, traps him, and says, "Now you're under my control." And the guy's like, "The fuck is this?"
Just like J.P. Morgan.
It's just like, are you gonna open the door and let me out? It's just like, no. Just like, bro, if you keep this up, I'm just gonna beat the shit out of you and walk out. So yeah, that is the highlight of Marx, or at least one of many incidences of
Holy
Marx.
shit.
I thought that was rather comical, honestly.
It explains everything.
Just a snapshot of what Marx is like as a man, of how he interacts with the world and the people around it. Dear fuck.
It's no wonder
Oh,
2 years
thank you for sharing the pain.
Just like the bosses at J.P. Morgan, apparently.
That Karl Marx would denounce Karl Heisen as a Philistine and condemn him as an egoist, with one of his tirades against him going on for nearly 30 pages. Engels called him the most stupid person of the century and threatened him with tears. Heisen would respond saying that Karl Marx was a sophist, a liar, and said he was always dressed in dirty linen.
My God.
Oh my.
I told you. It'll keep coming up.
Which is interesting. We'll certainly hear more about that later. But it's clear from all this that Marx was a bully and a very deranged person. The doting Francis Wien scoffs at the idea of Marx being anything other than a saint, echoing the thoughts of socialists around the world. But from this point onwards, Karl Marx's life goes downhill very rapidly. Marx was appointed as the editor of the newspaper, which he then became a tyrant over. But this is what one biographer says about it. To describe these writings as journalism is somewhat misleading. Nearly all the articles were long, some exceedingly so. Both accounts of the proceedings of the estates were between 40 and 50 pages long. They were not forms of investigative reporting aimed at uncovering the existence of concealed facts, and were almost exclusively concerned with the principle of press freedom, an embodiment of the idea, in contrast to censorship, the world outlook of semblance. Well, the obsession with press freedom was due to the fact that they were becoming more and more radicalized as they battled the government with words. That was until the Prussian government stepped in and censored the newspaper in 1843 on the request of Tsar Nicholas I of Russia.
Oh shit, that was Russian. The Russians that said stop that shit. Okay.
The reason why was because the newspaper had become anti-Russian. It was German after all. So, at age 24, having only worked a few months so far in his life, assuming journalism counts as work, which is questionable, Karl Marx was once again unemployed. And worse, it had been several years since he had pledged himself to Jenny, and even he was beginning to feel guilty for not having married her yet. Heated arguments then ensued between them, and she had to point out that, unlike men, she couldn't get a job, which is not true, but she's an aristocrat, so of course she would say that. It was.
Yeah, a huge element of being nobility is that they already have means of getting work done, which was usually through their own lands. At least that was the expectation. That is the expectation. But that does influence shit. Marxism creates idealistic tribalism. Y'all are covering our system. Y'all are covering why our system is collapsing now. Calling someone a socialist is no longer a slur. Oh dear. Yes, that is true. It stopped being a
Well,
slur a
I
long
do
time
use it
ago.
as a slur. Like,
Oh,
do.
I just called them a commie. I just called them a
I
straight up
like
commie.
slurs. I love.
Oh, yeah,
saying
we
slurs.
know. We're aware.
Uh-huh.
Mm.
I have never TO'd S on a panel.
Interesting.
But it's not for lack of
Hey,
wanting.
Kyle. It's not for
Yeah.
lack of trying.
No,
Wanting,
of
wanting.
He would
Wanting.
like to, but he
He would
doesn't
love
do
I would
it.
like to. I have
Yeah.
respect for people's channels. Once I found out you don't like me, the shenanigans I like, I hold it back now.
Yeah,
I
well
see,
changed my
appreciated.
profile picture.
there's two parts of the YouTube streets. There's the places that you treat like your mother's house, and there's the places that you treat like the
A dump.
dump, the neighborhood dump, and
Or sewage system.
That's
yeah.
Kieran's panel.
Oh my
And
god.
confluences.
Oh my gosh. So
Oh,
yeah.
he's gonna be
It's a
so
joke.
sad. He's gonna
You
be
can
so
fix
sad
him.
now.
No.
You can still fix confluence.
No.
Yeah,
That again.
We believe in you. We all believe in you.
we
Even the
really
chat.
believe in you.
I wanna know what love is. I want
AVG.
you to show me.
No.
Yes,
No.
yes, AVG joined us.
No, we're gonna mute everybody now and continue the video.
Playing different for girls. Condemned to passivity by Eve's original sin, they could only wait, hope, suffer, and endure. Nope, you could in fact get a job as a woman in the 1800s. Most chose not to get one because they decided to be housewives instead, which made sense back then as there was no washing machines or vacuum cleaners, and usually the children needed their mothers with them during these times. But technically, she could have got a job prior to becoming a mother, and the reason why she didn't was
Glacier, you could make confluence your washing machine.
But Marx's pledge
Bitch,
to
I have
Jenny
the
didn't
power.
stop him from falling for Bettina von Arnim, a
Do-
famous romantic
do-
poet who was
do-
old
do-
enough
do.
to He even took her back to Trier to meet Jenny, who was obviously not impressed, even though she stuck with him. And his
Oh yes, Marx's practice of slavery. Oh my gosh.
You like confluence, wash the dishes, whack, whip, whip, whip.
historian Francis Veen claims this was because Jenny was intimidated by Marx's intellect, an intellect attracted to other thinkers, not dumb ladies like Jenny. But that's clearly not the case. The fact is that a man who's wanted by other women is seen as attractive by women. This is the concept of pre-selection.
To marry a Jew was shocking enough, but to marry a jobless, penniless Jew who had already achieved national notoriety was quite intolerable. Her reactionary half-brother, Ferdinand, the head of the family since their father's death, did his utmost to prevent the union, warning that Marx was a ne'er-do-well who would bring disgrace on the entire tribe of von Westphalens.
So the 29-year-old Jenny, accompanied by her mother, fled from Trier to be with the 25-year-old Marx, whom she married on the 19th of June, 1843. They received a large box of cash from Jenny's mother, which was intended to be used to help them in the first few months of their marriage. They opened it for their friends, and it was all gone within the week, starting as they wished to continue. But in the period of 1843 to 1844, they still had some money coming in from relatives and friends, and Karl Marx managed to secure another job at another newspaper in Paris, population 1 million, the second largest after London. So Karl and Jenny seized the means of reproduction to produce their first child and went on a spending spree.
His wife gave him for his birthday a riding switch costing 100 francs, and the poor devil cannot ride nor has he a horse. Everything he sees he wants to have. A carriage, smart clothes, a flower garden, new furniture from the exhibition. In fact, the moon.
Ah, this might explain where all the money was going. He was wasting it. Well, Jenny gave birth to a baby girl on the 1st of May, 1844, who was also called Jenny just to make us all confused. But these two newlyweds were in over their heads.
Little
So, yeah, this is the beginning of Marx's practices of financing.
White girl
Which sucked.
wedding.
Like all of his ideas.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's just they didn't just suck; they were non-existent. So, this is the man that knows exactly what economy is.
Economic cost.
Indeed, yes.
Uh,
Make
you
sure you
should
should
cover.
cover the comedy.
It's not a
movie.
comedy movie. It's a. Oh my gosh.
What?
Schindler's
Schneider's
List.
Schindler? I don't know what that is.
Schindler's List
Schindler's
is
List.
about
It's a
the.
yeah.
It's about the costing of the letter H and
The
the
letter H?
yeah the costing of the letter H. We're on
I'm-
YouTube. I'm trying to be
Oh,
friendly.
gosh. Ah, man. Jeez.
It's not a
frick.
comedy movie. It's a horrific, like, heart-wrenching tale of
Let me
struggle.
explain it another way. Let me explain it
We're gonna-
another way. There were some people in Germany, or it's a country, okay, in the past, and there was a man who didn't like those people, and they were two places to play, okay,
Yes,
and
I
and then they
understand.
retired, and it's a great movie. It's actually a little bit comedy, but yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It's not a comedy.
It's not a comedy. I understand. It was a tragedy.
Why can't I remove my own comments when I misspell things? That's frustrating. All I
You
can
can-
do
you're
is put
gonna have
myself in a timeout.
Oh yes, that made me laugh when I was in SteamYard. It's just like, oh, I could put myself in timeout now. That's quite interesting, SteamYard.
I mean, you actually can, but yeah.
Yeah,
10
my own
seconds.
channel. My own channel.
You cannot moderate yourself. It says.
Oh, okay. So they have a safety. I feel like somebody might have been stupid
Okay,
enough
if
to
you
do that.
want, just give me keys. I'll do it for you.
It's okay. I guess my spelling error has to remain active.
Yes, for all the world to see. They go step through. They go
Just
a
mod
step
me and I'll
further.
do it for you.
Oh gosh. Go put a comment up. I could use a mod like you.
Okay.
It's just like, let's see. Further in the TV series, the later episodes, larger cities literally bind the handmaiden's lips together with a pierce. Ironic when you consider how. Oh,
I mean, I saw it happen. I saw quite literally it happened on other panels where two mods were fighting and they were timing out each other.
Yeah, Mod Wars.
that is something else. Interesting.
Mhm.
Oh, what? Cypher, what are you doing?
No, see, they're doing it
let's
to each
see.
other now. Count Emmett is timing out Cypher, and
Hold on.
Am I timing out Cypher?
No,
no,
I
you were
didn't.
timed out. You were timed out. Did
I
you time him out
timed-
first?
No,
timing out
I'm not even a mod yet.
I just made you a mod. Now you have the power.
Oh, okay, perfect.
There we go.
You've got the power.
Dun, 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 dun,
Dang,
dun, dun, dun.
dang, dang.
See,
Yes.
this is Marx is making us all insane. That's what I'm
Yes.
finding.
Yeah.
Yes, Marx makes everybody go insane. It's the
Okay.
only way.
I hate Marx.
I hate Marx too, but you know what I hate
What?
more than Marx?
No.
I shouldn't finish that.
Yeah.
Don't
Jenny
finish it.
Marks, the baby, a few months old, was attacked one day by strong cramps, which threatened to kill the child. Karl Marx, his wife, and their faithful helper and friend, Helena de Mutt, were standing around the child in a complete quandary. Then Heinrich Heine arrived, had a look, and said, "The child must have a bath." With his own hands, he prepared the bath, put the child in, and saved, so Marx said, little Jenny's life.
Heinrich Heine was another socialist anti-Semite who called all the inhabitants of Hamburg Jews, saying that the city was a city of hagglers. It was from him that Marx got the idea that religion was the opium of the masses. And Jenny was pregnant for a second time. Well, her mother had sent her a maidservant, the 25-year-old Helena de Mutt, who was just mentioned in that quote. Her nickname was Lenchen. And that's right, Karl Marx, the unemployed communist, had a maid and was living on handouts. Worse, this maid didn't get paid by Marx. She was practically an indentured servant for life. In other words, a serf.
Yes, that did happen.
Karl, champion of the proletariat, fulminator against low-paid workers, protester against wage exploitation, never paid Lenchen a penny.
And this is because he's a bourgeois lord who's just married an aristocrat. So he is a member of the elite. Well, being a member of the elite, work was beneath him. So when the new newspaper that he was at only ever published one issue and was a financial flop, he became unemployed again. His wife was concerned about their lack of money, especially since the Prussian government demanded that Marx and his anti-establishment friends should be arrested if they ever returned to Germany.
Dearest heart, I am greatly worried about our future. If you can, do set my mind at rest about this. There is too much talk on all sides about a steady income. A steady income was one necessity of life that always eluded Karl Marx, as we're about to see. And as one of the biggest ironies of history, for all his mockery of bourgeois morals and manners, Marx was at heart a supremely bourgeois patriarch.
I think it's worth just pointing out that Paris at this time was an interesting city, simply because it disproves the narrative that the Industrial Revolution and laissez-faire capitalism resulted in squalor and overcrowding. The French Revolution and the subsequent revolutions in 1830 and 1848 weren't due to either of these things, and even one of the Marxist historians has to point this out, despite saying earlier in the book that they were.
Paris was, after London, the second largest city in Europe, with a population of over 1 million. It specialized in the fabrication of quality fashion goods and the supply of specialized services. Its working class population was by far the largest in France, but factory work was almost unknown. Its workers were largely members of skilled trades employed in small workshops. In 1848, 50% worked along or were assisted by a single employee, and only 1 in 10 shops employed more than 10 workers. In the first half of the century, the city's population doubled. Immigrants were drawn to the city by the prospect of higher wages. The migration of artisans had begun in the years after 1815 as a result of the increase of population, the relaxation of guild restrictions, and the consequent overcrowding of German trades.
So, with this in mind, it's a little odd that Marx came to the conclusions he did. He was starting to publish some of his more well-known works, like the manuscripts of 1844, where he declared that the workers became estranged from their work. According to him, wages are determined by a struggle between the capitalist and the worker, and that the worker always loses. The worker is condemned to overwork, early death, and enslavement to capital. And he's writing this in Paris, a city which disproves his own narrative.
So yeah, just filled with oxymorons completely and totally.
Fun.
Indeed. Which basically, long story short, there's like several like economic events that happen during Marx's time that contradict all of his theories about how economics is actually handled. And it gets pretty freaking it gets funny, honestly.
How
And
embarrassing for him. Oh dear.
what do you are you doing anything to celebrate Mexico's Independence Day? Oh shit,
That's
that's
coming up
right.
Cinco de Mayo. When is that?
That's today, Nick. It's today.
Oh, well, then I guess we have plans.
Holy shit.
We always take time. Actually, Cinco de Mayo was the first day Glacier
You
came
guys are
down
the
here.
whitest people I know.
Yes,
Wait,
hell yes.
hold on. But this is relevant. Just like today, this is our
It's
fourth.
not Independence Day.
La cucaracha.
Well,
They'll
it's
take my money
America.
anyway.
They'll take my money. America. It's like this is the this is the 4th year anniversary, I think. Nick.
Yes.
Will there be a
Wow.
Latinx festival?
Probably not.
I doubt
No, there's no Latinx. It doesn't exist. Stop it. Stop the cap.
We have severely offended Emmett. But yes, yeah. Wow, it's Cinco de Mayo.
We'll have to figure out which place we're going to. We'll see if we can invite broke ass Lily.
Yeah, figure out what to do on that end. But yeah, I think this is pretty good going over like Marx's early life. It's a pretty good preamble for what is to come because everything just goes downhill so fast afterwards. When it comes down to it, I think next week, like I'll create a part 2 for this stream. But
All right.
yeah.
Sometimes I forget that Emmett's Mexican. Emmett, how much tequila can you drink successfully in one go?
It would depend about maybe. I mean, I did like a quarter, probably half a bottle the time I got it, the time I did my drunken stream.
Dang, that's impressive.
Half a bottle.
And then I I went directly to bed. I was like, screw you, all of you, and I went to bed. So even when drunk, I just got super mean, and I started asking more for. I just started being like, "Where's my fucking money? Pay me."
Where's your money? Where's
And-
my money?
Yeah, where's my money? Pay
Where's
me,
my money?
fuckers.
Where's
and
my
stuff
money?
like
Oh
that.
my gosh.
Yeah, I was so mean, and then I just they just went to bed. Like I just said, I'll be right back, or give me 5 minutes or something like that, and they just went to bed. Just didn't care.
Thank you for
Oh
that
my
admission.
God.
The non-Christians of YouTube will now proceed to revoke your Christianity card.
Oh my gosh.
Mexico? What the hell's Mexico?
Mexico.
No,
Mexico.
I started observing Cinco de Mayo because I got, what was it, 10 years ago? Some internet dweeb said, "I'm sorry, you can't experience Cinco de Mayo because you're not Mexican." It's like, that's
Yes.
weird. There seems to be a vast amount of Mexican restaurants that would be rather pissed off if they heard you say that.
Indeed. It's
So
just
they're
like, what are
happy
you
with that.
doing? You're ruining our business.
Yes.
You know what I tell people like that?
What?
Shut your mouth.
There we go. There we go. Yes, exactly. Anywho, I am a retired alcoholic. I endorse this statement, which was, if you can't put down an entire handle on your own, then you're not really an alcoholic. Yeah, pretty
Yeah,
much.
I don't think that's
I'm
the
not an
definition,
alcoholic.
but
I never said that I was an alcoholic.
I think
But
the definition of alcoholism is when you're dependent on alcohol, i.e., you consume it regularly, or you cannot go a certain amount of time without a drink.
Yeah, addiction. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I have a friend that quite literally was in the hospital not long ago because he started having problems with the liver, and he was gulping down a full-on bottle of tequila a day.
Like, how much is a bottle? Like 750 or like 1 liter or?
It's probably 2 liters.
Holy
Yeah.
shit!
Yeah, you
I
can
can't
actually kill yourself doing that. Yes.
It takes me like months to go through a 2 liter. Months.
Jeez. Yeah. Well, I hope everybody enjoyed themselves going over the madness that is Marx.
Enjoy?
Yes, and enjoyed. Did you
This was
enjoy?
supposed to be an enjoyable stream?
I thought this
I
was a suffer stream, like suffer party.
Well, with Hegel's dialectics, I'm using enjoyment as a dialectic as well.
Oh no!
Oh no!
Enjoy your suffering.
Not the inside nerd jokes.
Yes, the inside nerd jokes just take effect all the way.
God.
Thank you for suffering with me.
It was so enjoyable. I almost forgot that we were doing YouTube work.
Yeah, I know, right? So, I'll probably plan another stream, probably next week, so that everybody can recover from this first stream. And I will think of more things to research in the between those times to make a more fulfilling stream, so to speak. Alcohol is indeed the devil. I know. True. So before we leave off, AVG, you got your links, Emmett?
Oh, yeah.
So please like and subscribe if you do enjoy the content. I would appreciate it very much so that I can keep on doing what I'm doing.
I think about it.
You
will like and subscribe.
Whoa.
You
Orc
will
doctrine is nothing
like and
if you don't
subscribe.
have the monopoly on force.
I know where he sleeps.
Fuck. I need to get that lock installed.
On him, maybe. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, no.
So there's AVG's channel. Please like and subscribe. Check her out sometime, which I did enjoy having you over. When this
Lovely to
Is this
bear.
when cash collection plates get passed around? Oh gosh. And
Well,
Emmett, uh-huh.
well, it's over, in a sense.
Mm. Oh,
Yeah.
Emmett, where can people find you as well?
I put the link in the description.
There we go.
Yeah. I put the link in the description. I put the link on chat. You can
Awesome.
find me there.
Awesome.
Apparently, I've got another debate now. Anson's going to debate me, and then I've got the Narcan debate against Witchy Bishy. We're just finalizing that.
Oh, okay.
Oh
So you're
my
actually
God,
going to
you're
go
gonna
through
have
with
another
it.
debate with that.
She challenged me to another one.
She
and,
did
like,
challenge her to another debate.
God.
Yeah, yeah.
she wants to debate the fact that Narcan should only be administered by medical professionals, i.e., like if you see somebody on the street unaliving because of an OD, like too bad, so sad.
Pretty much.
Let them go to the great yonder.
Yes.
Benevolent.
Yeah, benevolent, guys.
This is very benevolent. Anywho, thank you all for coming, and I will see everybody next time.
Alrighty, thank you, thank you.
Bye.
Catch you on the flippity flip. Thanks for joining us.
Good meeting you, AVG.
Likewise.
Kudos.